I am absolutely cooked tonight. The views are gonna be low. But that's okay. I made a massive mistake. See, I didn't know that tonight was gonna be the Orthodox Avengers on YouTube, bro. I did not. I didn't know about that on YouTube. We got people like Alex Soren, Cleve, and Jay Dyer doing like a trio thing, and Mario, like all of them on like one stream. Bro, I'm screwed. No, they're not really doing a debate stream. They're doing like a Protestantism deconstruction thing. Just cover political stuff and get those numbers up, bro. Honestly. Exactly. Mario isn't there. He has the flu. Oh man, that sucks. That's unfortunate. I think tonight's gonna be more of a chill stream, unless something like specific happens. Um, because one, the views are gonna be lower tonight in general, just because of that. Because there's like almost 600 people in there now. You see Jay and Talon on Soren stream? I did. Yeah, yeah, I watched that. They both attempted to go.
What's up, man?
Oh man.
We're talking about fake quotes. We're talking about the fake Pelagius sola fide quote. So so the pseudo, yep, that's right. The
I just
pseudo-Jerome
like
quote.
Jay
The
is
other
like
one
always
from,
mogging, but like
Examination of the Council
unintentionally.
Trent was,
You know what I mean?
basically a pseudo John Chrysostom quote.
We saw you get folded by Mateo Unk. Time to wrap it up. Dude, Kata, you're actually lying. Come up here right now and tell me what you're talking about. You're fully lying. Like there's no shot. You're lying. You did not see me get cooked by the Mateo. Dude, he's the jester, bro. I can't get cooked by him. He's the server jester. Wrap it up, Cyril defender. Yeah, Cyril's based. What are you, an historian? This bro's crazy. Hold on. Make sure that I got my stuff. On Bryce's neighbor's soul. I'm not lying. You don't know my neighbor's soul. Kata, come up here. Not kidding. I need to know what happened. Because that loss is not in the room with me. Hey, Kawaii Bryce, when we watching that anime, dude, Crucified, you're like actually a freaking weirdo, bro. Like that anime was like degenerate as fuck, and I don't know why you sent that to me on DM. You're actually a weirdo for that. Like straight up.
That was actually a bitter Arian guy. But anyway, right.
Some sort of proto-Protestant doctrine. But I fell for all that too, and then I think it just took time.
Okay, maybe there was miscommunication. Dude, Kata, come up here for a second. You could just come up here and clarify real quick. Like, dude, you just keep leaving me waiting for like the reveal of the epic thing that apparently you got me with. I have to know what it is.
In my case, to see the context of a lot of these quotes, and unfortunately, it was years later.
It's almost always a fake quote or it's a pseudo quote. Michael Horton.
OMG, no way you popped back up into my For You page after so long.
One of his books is
What are you talking about?
Sola Fide, used a quote that was from pseudo Jerome, which was actually Pelagius. Perry Robinson calls this out quite a bit.
Nazarenes. Hello.
Hey Bryce, how's it going?
Good, man. What's going on?
Good, good. Kristen here. I just.
You're not like you're like one of those Nazarene guys.
Nah.
Oh.
Nazarene.
Cool.
Yeah. So I mean, I've just come on TikTok for maybe the past few days. I've seen, basically all the Muslim channels running a how many gods died argument.
That's what you've been doing?
No. So I've seen Muslims basically.
Oh, yeah.
So basically, my response, I haven't really have had like a well thought out. But basically, I was my thought process is perhaps it might be reduced to some act predicated to God through the Son, just as creation. Obviously, we predicate creation to God, but by His word. So I'm not into metaphysics and all that. So I was just gonna hop on here to hear your thoughts and if that's a valid response. So like God died.
I mean, you just have to know the difference between like the referent at that moment, right? So let me give you an analogy to show how the question of how many gods died on the cross is actually fallacious. Have you ever heard this before? Where you go, how many presidents died in 2024?
Right, there could be
Be one, Jimmy Carter, right?
2024.
Yes, in 2024, Jimmy Carter died.
Oh, okay.
All right. How many presidents are alive in 2024?
Multiple.
No, Donald Trump, one.
Oh,
You see what I'm doing?
locally.
All right, and then how many presidents are there?
I'm not.
See, it doesn't matter what you say. I can prove you wrong. You see what I mean?
Right.
So like, if you say like, oh, there's one, I could say no, there's 45. If you say there's 45, it could be like, no, there's only one. Because when they're talking about the word God, when they say God died on the cross, right? They're using the referent in a different way every time they give you a proposition. How many gods died on the cross? Is Jesus God, right? And then is the Father God? Yes. Did the Father died on the cross? No. So then which God died on the cross? Boom. Now you have two gods. Like, do you see? I mean, you've seen the argument. You know how it works, right? But it's a false. They're asking it in a false manner because they're basically treating it as if the word is God, is the same in every context to that proposition, but it's not. They say it in completely different ways, so it's actually a completely fallacious argument.
Yeah.
That's all you got to say. You don't even have to try to metaphysically disprove that argument. It's literally just a false argument. It's not even real.
Yeah. I mean, in terms of a valid response, to say obviously, the one God. I mean, for me, my initial thought was obviously if we predicate. I'm stuck at like using creation as an example. Like we can predicate creation properly to God,
Mm-hmm.
being the triune God. But the Bible makes it clear that everything was made by the Son.
Yeah, absolutely. John 1:3. Yeah.
Yeah. So in that sense, we can properly predicate the crucifixion or the separation of the Spirit of Christ, which is the Spirit of God, from the body to the Son, but then also properly predicate that to
Mm-hmm.
God.
Yeah.
Yeah, but again, it's one of those ones where I'm not orthodox, but I mean, in terms of listening to people speak about the church fathers, I was thinking maybe there's some, because they're united in the same act, along those lines somewhere there, but I'm not properly read up on all that. But basically, like since it was the same act, I think I probably heard Nick say something about it.
Well, so you have to remember as well that when it comes to like dying on the cross, right? That's something dying or death in general is something that's properly applied to a person, not applied to an entirety of a nature in that case. Or I guess because of the fact that God would then be simple, we wouldn't be able to say that God in the Trinity died because that would be something that would also apply to the nature as well because the persons are materially the same as the nature. So there would be an issue with that, right? So there is, in a sense, where you could say that the person of the Son died, as in because of the fact that he underwent a death in the body because he possessed the body. So then that would be the situation in which that would be said that way. But honestly, like I said, as long as you just address that argument is on its own false, right? The question itself is already problematic. I already showed you the president analogy to show you that these people are asking the question in a false manner, which, is dishonest. Of course.
Unfortunately, you're not gonna get to like run this example. Like they're not gonna take any sort of suggestion to change the argument. So I'm
Yeah.
just saying like how it will be. Um, yeah. So I mean, basically, what I wanted to ask, like to get your thoughts on, especially from the Orthodox position, is if
Yeah.
so like in terms of that one act, so we have like biblical precedents for that as well, which is God was in Christ reconciling himself, reconciling the world unto himself.
Yes.
Or Christ being the Spirit of God, into your hands I commit my spirit. So the biblical basis, and I'm careful not to, as the Bible says, like throw pearls to swine, because they're not necessarily looking for like a biblical basis for understanding. So
Yeah.
it's something valid that doesn't create some sort of heresy. Is what I'm trying to avoid, basically.
You know, I like the single act thing that you're denoting from that. I do think that that's a good response in general. I do like that. That's actually like my favorite way to basically show that that the Trinity is one God in general, is the single act. Right? That's St. Gregory of Nyssa's argument in On Not Three Gods. It's pretty much unbeatable. Especially because Muslims have absolutely no idea how the argument works, like 99% of the time. So it's even funnier.
Because it's important, I think, to like make it simple for them. So again, what do you say when you're gonna get bombarded with like silly? But I mean, for me, it's mostly
I
like
play a bingo sheet.
on.
I do a bingo sheet, like where it says like the middle one will say like John 17:30 or something. Or like it'll say Jesus never claimed to be God will be one of them. It says Jesus is a prophet. I mean, like I could just go on, right? Of like the amount of like really low tier initial. Oh, sorry. Like a bunch of initial responses that people will give. I'll be like, "Why are you not a Trinitarian?" And they'll just be like, "Because Jesus never claimed to be God." And I'm just like, "Wow, bro." Like, how much studying have you actually done on this? Because, like, holy moly, man.
Yeah. So I mean, I'm just saying, I don't want to, because I'm sure Christians are listening as well. I don't want to go on there and say, give a response that might not be properly, that might not be valid, like historically as well. So
Yeah.
I want to check with. Well, I'll do more studying and appreciate your thoughts on
Yeah.
that.
Sure thing, bro.
Yeah. Cheers. God bless.
God bless. Hello, no name.
Hi. Can you hear me right?
Yeah.
Okay, so I'm not actually here up to debate you. I just wanted to see if you remember. So I was actually in a video, two videos of yours, specifically Soy Boy Atheist Talks Bad and Atheist Believes You Can Unalive Newborn Infants. Do you
Oh, are you?
do you remember now?
You're that guy's girlfriend?
Yes. So you popped up on my For You page after so long, and I was like, dang, I should really give this guy a update about everything.
Okay, yeah. So go ahead, hit me with it. That's
So
crazy.
I'm no
Wait, hold on.
longer his.
One second. Actually, I just want to clarify real quick. Everybody in
Okay.
chat, do you guys remember a while ago when I did those TikTok invasions and I met that one guy, like the African American dude with who was like an atheist, and he was saying like the most outlandish shit you've ever heard in your life. This is that girl that was in the video. This is her. Just so you guys are
that's
aware for
me.
context. All right, go ahead.
So in November, I think it was like November 12th or something, I broke up with him because,
W.
yeah, not because of like what he was saying in there, because all of that, I'm gonna tell you right now, it was just rage bait. We weren't actually thinking that someone like you would join up, and that's when I was like, okay, maybe he's saying stuff a little too much, if that makes sense. He was kind of
Okay.
going all out. The reason why I broke up with him, because I was in a call with him when I was about to go into my group therapy session, and I left for 10 minutes, and he thought I was ignoring him. So when I came back, he told me to shut the fuck up and like started cussing me out and shit. And I tried to
Wow.
talk to him about it after. I was like, can we have a conversation about this? And he's like, no, you're in the wrong because you left me for 10 minutes, even though I told him where I was going. But, you know.
That's kind of crazy.
He is crazy. So you may not know this, but he actually has a big following. He's not who you think it is.
What?
You probably... Yeah, he has almost 1 million followers on TikTok. The account
Shut
that you
the
were on...
Shut
No,
the
I'm not.
Hold on.
It's called... I'm blocked by him because I broke up with
Okay,
him. But
what's his name? Hold on. You're lying.
Mr. I'm not lying, dude. Mr. Pisser at TikTok. But Mr. spelled like actual Mr. So Mister. Trust me, dude. This is the guy I dated. Because the account that we were rage baiting on is like one of his alt accounts that he does that stuff on, so.
No, it can't be this guy. You're lying.
I'm not lying. I have the proof. I can show you the text messages between me and him, dude.
There's no way that this is him.
It's him, bro. It is him.
Does he actually like live like this?
He does. Yeah, it's.
You're lying.
Actually, I'm not lying. I'm not lying. I'm not lying. He actually lives in that house with his family.
No.
Yeah, he's the piss new guy. It's crazy, I know. I dated him for like 5 months.
This is crazy. You're telling me that I debated Mr. Piss Air. You're telling me that's who I debated.
Yes, you debated the Mr. Piss Air, dude.
Bro.
I'm not joking. I'm not a liar. That's one thing I'm a lot of things, but one thing I'm not is a liar. I swear on everything I love, it's him. And that's who I dated, too.
Holy moly. You know, and it makes sense, too. Yeah, I'll bring you up here in just a second, C-Dot. Go ahead, I got you. Hold on. Dude. I just...
Yo, what's up? Can you hear me?
Yeah, man. Just 1 second, though, okay?
Yeah, one moment.
Okay.
Yeah, 1 moment. I'm blown away by this. I actually just... this is crazy. I don't like even know what to do now because like I know about this guy. I've known about how
actually?
like this account specifically. I thought it was like this weird, creepy, vile dude that does like this super because I'm a Christian, right? So I see shit like this, and I was like, dude, this is like this is literally demons. Like this guy is infected with demons, right? And like that's something that I've always thought. And then the fact that I debated that guy and thought that, oh my gosh, this guy's terrible, like with the stuff he's saying. Granted, it was rage bait. But like seeing the real him though isn't any better.
It's not, dude. Like a lot of people will go up into the lives and be like, I recognize your voice. Are you him? And then he'd be like, no, because he didn't want people to find out it was actually him. But you know, who cares, right?
Well, thank you for letting me know that. That's crazy, man.
Oh, no, dude. I know a lot of secrets about him, but I'm a better person than I was 3 months ago, so I won't be spilling any of that. So
Yeah, the whole chat's losing their mind, dude. Like, why did you date that guy? Why
did I date him? So that's a very
you saw his
question.
page, and you thought, surely he's not really like that.
Yeah, it's okay. He was a nice guy. Okay, he gave me attention that I wasn't getting. So yeah, it's that. Yeah.
Ma'am, please go to church and find a real man. I'm begging you. Please.
No, it's okay. It's okay.
You will. You have to. Because
no, I wasn't clout chasing. I'm not like that.
You work in clout chasing, you said?
No. Somebody was saying in chat that I was clout chasing. I wasn't.
No, dude. Well, first off, she honestly, I'll even say I don't think she was clout chasing, only because the account that she was technically participating with him on was a secret account that was not connected to this account.
Mm-hmm.
So I think, honestly, I probably am assuming that she probably kept the fact that this was him a secret.
Yes, I did. Because
that's not something you want to know. Or that's not something you want random people to know, is that you're dating this mother fricker.
So you want to hear? I'm gonna tell you a secret. Like this one. So do you think the piss is real? Let's be honest. Do you think it's real?
Yes.
In the winters, it's real. In the winter specifically, it's real.
Sorry.
Angry Medic 5,974 super chatted $5. Someone is into R. Kelly things.
Yeah, it seems so, dude.
Yeah, seems so, bro.
Dude, that's
But-
crazy, man.
Yep. And of course, I'm blocked on everything because he can't admit that he was in the wrong for something at once. But, you know, I'm not, like, angry about it or anything. It's just, you know,
Okay.
who
Well,
he is.
well, thank you for coming up and letting me know all that. I do
You're
appreciate it. I'm gonna
welcome.
go ahead and keep going on with the stream,
Yes,
but that
please
was
keep
that
going.
was fun. Thank you.
I really hope you're having a good rest of your year, so
I am.
I really
Thank
hope
you.
this year will be good for you. All right, bye!
Yeah. Bye. Wow.
Yo, what's up, man?
Yeah, what's up, brother? How's it going?
I just saw the video you posted of my live.
Oh, one sec.
3,590 super chatted $5. Pissa can get one, but I can't, bro. WTF.
Yeah, I know. It's crazy, bro. Look, dude, I'm glad I'm married, but like, holy moly. The fact that guy got a girlfriend's crazy. Like, dude, any of you single guys out there, I'm telling you right now, if that guy got a girlfriend, do not lose hope, my friends. Don't lose hope. It's as simple as that. Don't lose hope. Anyway, sorry. Yeah, go on with the thing you said.
Yeah, I saw you made a video about my live. That's tough. Yeah, thanks for the video. Dude, that guy on my live was like a Unitarian. It was very weird. He was
Yeah, he's pretty well known.
He was actually
Yeah.
he was spewing a lot of false info. I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah, he tends to do that.
But yeah, I think it's cool that you made a video about me. But see
Yeah,
ya.
the only reason why I didn't actually click on it and join the live is because it would have became a bigger deal, and then it would have been like a come up you dude, and I'm like, okay, bro. I didn't want to take over your live because they would have freaking because he would have been like, yeah,
You're
what's up, Bryce J? And I'm like, no.
Yeah, you're good though.
Yeah, just focus on Christ, brother. Exactly. I like his idea.
That's
Anyway.
yeah, that's one of my friends. Yeah.
Cool. Did you reject the Orthodox Avengers invitation? Dude, shut the hell up. I did not get invited to that. Hold on. Now you got me stressed out. I didn't get invited to that, so no. I thought that don't rage bait me with that. What's up, VS?
So my question is, what makes you believe Christianity is the true religion?
Haven't we talked about this before recently?
I don't think we got to finish the conversation.
Well, I mean, you obviously know like where I come from. I believe there's enough philosophical evidence. I believe that there's enough historical attestation towards Christ being who he says he was. Yeah.
Towards Christ being God, or like what? There's not even
Towards the
historical
claim.
evidence,
There's not what?
like historical evidence for like the resurrection, or like that the actual disciples of Jesus are the ones who wrote the Gospels, like Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John.
I mean, we have writings from the disciples of those people who then make that claim. That's kind of the whole point.
Yeah, but like the evidence leans towards them being written by anonymous authors rather than the witnesses to the events themselves.
Name one piece of evidence.
Yeah, like the synoptic problem, that the fact that Matthew and Luke copy like 90% of Mark, in fact, like in cases in the exact same words, right? Which is very unexpected if they were written by actual witnesses. You see that like even the times that they were written, like decades after the events, like historically they wouldn't be taken as accurate. That's why I feel like you saying the historical evidence for Christianity is one of the reasons that you're Christian.
Yeah, so if they were preaching that message that was taught to them all the way up until the point where they chose to write that work would not be corrupted by time. That the only reason why that would make any sense is if for some reason the apostles learned everything they got from Jesus and then they just went dark and didn't talk to anybody for 30 plus years.
No, I'm saying because of the fact that historians have deduced that they were written by anonymous authors, the stories would have been floating throughout like oral tradition, and oral tradition is not a reliable method of like transmission of like events, right? Because it can change very easily. It's just a long game of telephone, right? So then because of the synoptic problem, which is like the main reason why historians don't believe they were written by the people they're attributed to, Yeah, they believe they were written by anonymous authors, and then the resurrection has no like sufficient evidence behind it, right? Using
What
the
would be
historical.
sufficient?
Well, you have Paul's like letters, right?
We also have the Gospels
The
themselves.
Gospels, exactly, and the Gospels. So using the
Yeah.
historical
So what are
critical
you
method,
using then to
exactly, the
determine that?
historical critical method, right? You see
Historical
who wrote it,
critical.
when they wrote it, and what are their motivations for writing it. So because they have theological motivations, they wouldn't be taken as not just theological motivations, but the time period that they were in, like decades after the events, they wouldn't be taken as historical reliable. And then you also have no independent attestation of the resurrection. Like you have Paul writing that there was 500 witnesses of the crucifixion, but like you don't have a single independent attestation of it, right? So historically, you know, it wouldn't be taken as a fact. You know what I'm saying?
I know what you're saying. All right, are you done?
Yeah. Yeah.
All right, cool. So if somebody witnessed Jesus Christ resurrect from the dead and they were capable of writing and they wrote about it, do you think they'd be a Christian? Be
If
honest.
someone witnessed it, yeah, they probably would be.
So then it would also fall into that category of theological bias?
Yes, sir, it would.
Okay, so then it's unfalsifiable for you?
No, it's not that it's unfalsifiable.
So
right?
then how would you be able to even actually allow, how is your criteria possible then?
I mean,
Your
that's what
criteria for it
it's
being
not just-
reliable makes it to where it's impossible for there to be a source that's possible.
Yeah, no, so like theological motivations is not the only criteria for a historical document to be taken as like sufficient, right? Like when it was written, who it was written by, and like how trustworthy this person was, right? And then
Yeah.
the events that actually occurred. So not even like a Christian historian would affirm the resurrection as a historical event. They
That's
would believe
literally
in it.
not true. That's not true.
Can you
name
name
one?
One who denies it as a historical
A
event?
Christian historian, as in like a Christian. Name one.
Yeah, yeah, they wouldn't affirm it as a historical
Name
event.
one.
No, you have to prove to me like something is.
You're
something is
making a
true.
claim that Christian historians even say that they admit that. Name one.
No, I said none of them would affirm that it is a historical event. They would believe in it, but they would say no. There's no sufficient evidence behind it.
Name
being
one
a
that says that.
historical event. I'm saying all of them.
Name one. If all of them.
I can find a Christian historian that.
Are you a word sayer? Like what? Did you just say that and just didn't
No.
have anything to back that up? You
Brother,
just said it.
No, the burden of proof is on you.
You just made a very specific claim. You said that Christian
What is my
historians that Christian historians don't even affirm that it's a historical event. That's a claim.
Yes.
Name
So
one
them not
historian.
affirming it, that
Name
would be
one.
a negative, right?
No,
So
if
you're
you
saying
said
that-
they don't say something or that they deny, if you say they
That-
don't affirm that it's a historical event, you're saying that they deny it.
No, I'm not saying they deny it. I'm saying they deny it as a historical event, right?
Okay,
Like,
cool. Show one source of that.
That's a negation. I don't.
No,
have
it's
the burden of
not.
proof. There's no- the burden of proof
Denying
on me.
that something happened is a positive claim.
What? No, it's not.
Yes, it is. If you say
No.
this did not happen, that is a positive claim. Are you dense?
No. They deny it as a historical event, meaning
That's a
that there's
positive
no
claim.
No, meaning that there's no sufficient evidence to believe in it. That's not a positive claim. Like saying that they don't
Dude.
believe in something because of a lack of evidence is not a positive. What are you talking about?
If you say that this did not happen because, and then you list reasons as to why, that is a positive claim. By the way,
No.
That's
They don't
verbatim a
say
positive
this-
claim.
They don't say this did not happen. In history, you don't do that. You say there is insufficient reasoning to believe that this happened. That is not a positive claim, right?
Insufficient reason to believe it happened. What? That is,
Yeah,
that's
there's
even your original claim now.
insufficient- Yeah, I said they wouldn't affirm it as a historical event. I'm not
Yeah,
saying that
okay.
they say it didn't happen, but they just there's no sufficient evidence to believe in it as a historical event. So what are
Okay,
you talking
so
about?
do they believe that there is not enough evidence to affirm it's a historical event? Do they believe that?
Yes, they lack belief in. That's not
What?
really the correct terminology I would use. They lack.
Oh no, it's
belief
because
in-
it's because you know it's a positive event. So now you're
No,
saying
that's
it's
not
false
the correct-
terminology.
No, that's not the correct. Do they believe that they don't believe it in the?
Nope, that's not what I
the-
said. I said, do they believe that there is insufficient evidence for it being a historical event? That's a proper sentence with proper context.
Yeah,
Is that
but that's
true?
No, that's an improper terminology.
No,
to
it's not
use.
because I'm decimating your script right now.
No, they disbelieve in it as a historical event. You saying, do they believe
They disbelieve it
there's
as a historical event.
insufficient? No, there just is insufficient evidence.
Yeah.
That the
So
that
what
the
makes more
resurrection actually
sense?
happened.
To say you believe that something didn't happen, or to say I disbelieve something happened?
That was none of my claims, brother.
You literally just said that verbatim, that they disbelieve that it's a historical event. You just said that verbatim. So how is that not your claim?
Sorry, my mom called me. Yeah. Yeah, so again, could I ask, so
You're not
what
running from
historical
this.
evidence do you have of the
No,
resurrection?
don't point this back at me. I want you to show me a single source at all, a Christian historian in any sense, that does not believe that it's a historical event. A single one.
Okay, sure. And then if I find one, what would be your reaction?
I would have to know who that historian is, and if they're a Christian historian, because that's my criteria I'm asking.
Okay, sure.
That was your claim. How do you know that that's true, by the way, if you have to look it up?
No, I've looked it up before. I just don't remember the names off the top of my head. Why would I, right? I think it's such a thing that should just be taken because there's no evidence. Like, there's zero evidence using the historical.
You literally
critical
just
method of
also admitted
resurrection.
earlier that even if somebody did witness it independently, that if they wrote about it, it would have theological bias. Your criteria is unfalsifiable. Do you understand that? That's fallacious.
How is this fallacious? This is the criteria of the historical critical method.
Dude, if you just said that in order for it to be proven that something happened, or that there would be more evidence for it happening, that there can't be a theological bias. That's one of the criterias, right? I asked you a question. I said, if somebody wrote about the resurrection, you said they would probably be a Christian then. Okay, so then if they wrote about it as an independent source who was a Christian, then you would throw it away too, right?
No, that's not the only criteria, right? But if something was theologically
But if
motivated,
if that matches the criteria, then it's considered unreliable, right? That part of that criteria in of itself still is unverifiable.
Sure, exactly, yeah.
So you just admitted it again that it's an unfalsifiable claim.
All right, bro.
Do you even know what you're saying?
Yeah, I don't believe you know what I'm saying.
Are you kidding me right now? Dude, I'm literally taking all of the words that you're putting in and I'm wrapping them around you, and you don't even know what I'm saying anymore.
All right, John Dominic Crossan. All right, so John Dominic Crossan, scholar and historian. He has Catholic background.
Catholic background. Is he a Catholic?
He has Catholic background.
Is he a Catholic?
Yeah, he was a Catholic priest. He's dead now, but he was a Catholic priest.
Okay, so what did he say about the resurrection?
I do not think the resurrection can be considered a historical event. In his
In what book?
The Historical Jesus.
The Historical Jesus. What page?
I'm not sure.
Because you got that from ChatGPT just now.
Yes, sir.
Okay, have a good day, bro. Holy low tier, bro. Thank you for admitting that you just used ChatGPT just now, and also just hoped that ChatGPT gave you quotes. Wow. Bro said, yes, sir.
Yeah, what's up, man?
What's up?
Yo, where's that the original Greek source for Maxim the Greek saying that about St. Augustine? Can you send it to me on Discord?
Yeah, I can send it to you.
Yeah.
You said the original Greek source?
Yeah.
I'll have to get that from my buddy Athik Toso, because he's the one who made that. So, but I don't know where he actually pulled
it. Send me the AI translation of like the text.
Yeah, I can send that to you right now if you want. Yeah. Hold on 1 second. Let me grab it.
How many accounts do I have? 6. I have 6. Yo, can you bring up Indian Mob?
Indian Mob?
Yeah. What's up, twin?
Yeah. Bryce J,
Sorry.
I was gonna ask you, what's your opinion on Marxism?
It's kind of a loser position.
Oh, why?
Do you like it?
A little bit.
Can you name one society that succeeded with it?
Russia.
Really? The USSR?
East
Yeah.
Germany.
Yeah.
East Germany. Who controlled that? Who controlled that part of Germany in that time?
The Soviets.
The
Listen,
Soviet Union is what we should model our societies
listen, I'm
on.
not a Marxist, but the East Germans had the most successful left-wing economic.
That's all my mama and my libretto.
Why did he?
They had the most.
Hold
They
on.
had the most stable economy within the left wing.
I'm gonna tell Athictosa to send it back to me because that one's not on his academia page anymore. I'll send it back. I'll send it to you.
Bruh,
I gotta have Athictosa send it. It's TPL6, but it seems like it's not on the public distro anymore. It literally there's like a skip in his thing now.
Yeah. Yo, Bryce, what's your favorite song?
I'm just gonna do this real quick before that starts.
Yo, what up, Bryce?
Yeah, what's up, Constantine? How's it going?
Doing good, man. Had a conversation with Bear the Image and one with Jake, so I guess you're last but not least.
Okay.
On it's been pretty fruitful so far. I guess there's some leftover conversations, but that wanted to know if you'd engage with me on some ecclesiology and what's parsed out to tradition and what is claimed from the Orthodox Church. What I would say is a good claim.
All right.
I think it holds a lot of weight. So I'm going to try to press you on it a little bit, and I use the word press, and not in the same context of argumentative, but I guess push for more information. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So one of the the majority claim, and what the Eastern Church invokes for authority as well, in conjunction with epistemology, which you would say would be foundational, was succession. And so the question therefore stems to what the formal rule of faith in orthodoxy, and how you would ascertain whether it is infallible or not.
Okay. Say that one more time. I'm sorry. I don't want to.
Yeah. So I guess, I don't even know if this question follows from the position. So let's check to see if it's not categorically wrong, or just it might be a misunderstanding of how I've researched the succession of the apostolic tradition and how you would grant epistemic access to the understanding of Scripture through the laying on of hands. Mm-hmm. And so from that, the question then becomes, and it maybe you'll play so render it with the appropriate amount of engagement, right? Like, what would you say the formal rule of faith in orthodoxy? So like a formal rule of faith. And go ahead.
So when we say that the people who have the laying on of hands have epistemic access, it's not really because of the fact that they basically not magically, that's a bad word for that. But they have we're not saying that the Holy Spirit is going to somehow prevent them from erroring, right? We're not saying that when we say that. What we're saying is that due to the fact that they are somebody that we can tie directly back to the apostles, then the teachings by which that came from basically their successor and onwards to the apostles would be the interpretation of the apostles themselves, due to that tradition being handed down in a manner which is basically verifiable, rather than somebody who says, I'm a Christian and I read the Bible and I think it means this, versus somebody who basically can actually tie back what they were taught to the point in which the tradition was held, which is kind of different. I think it's a lot more, it's verifiable, other than, somebody reading it for themselves, which I'm not saying that's what you do, but just in a general sense.
No.
A lot of people people always make the Pastor Bob joke.
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
Of the guy in the strip mall church who basically throws up and he's like, the Holy Spirit told me to tell this to you today. Stuff like that. It's kind of just okay, bro. Yeah, maybe. But I don't know about that. I'd probably rather listen to somebody who has that connection to the apostles, which that would be the epistemic access we're talking about.
Yeah. Now, and so, and if I say, when I say this laying on of hands and this succession, which grants the epistemic access, which is um, I mean, I think you make a solid point. But if I were to say, can I just press that into a package and say, well, this is holy tradition, in other words? And so the question then, I think in virtue of that question, what I would ask is the infallible tradition from fallible traditions, right? So without appealing to a separate infallible let's say infallible authority. Does that make sense?
Yeah. So if we're talking about like an infallible tradition from fallible traditions, like what fallible traditions would you be talking about? Like what kind of fallible
Yeah,
traditions
right.
would you think would be kind of melded in with it?
Yeah, I guess a fallible tradition. I can think of some on my end from Protestantism, right?
Okay.
That would just specifically have nothing to do with Scripture, but everything to do with what we would consider a church tradition, right? And it could be just something as simple as passing a pew at the beginning of service versus the end of service, things that are not considered as a prime as its origins or genesis comes from Scripture. Would you therefore consider the church tradition to be infallible because it is originated from the Scriptures? And would there be another designator or a descriptor that would say it is infallible because it comes from later tradition? Would that make it infallible versus fallible?
Well, it's more based off of the fact that like I'm assuming like do you hold to the position that like the priesthood continued into the church like after the Levitical priesthood was done away with?
Yeah, you mean from the tribe of Aaron? Yeah, from
Yes.
from the line of Aaron.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And would you say that the priesthood, like from the tribe of Aaron, like that they were the ones who were providing the interpretation handed down in that time period, and they were the ones considered the teachers of that scripture, even though that they didn't write it themselves?
Yeah, I think that follows.
So then that basically that exact same concept in which that it was applied to basically the first, second, third, fourth century church, etc. That would just be a continuation of that thing that anyone would rely on, including a Protestant, where they look back towards the fact that certain scriptures meant certain things in certain times based off of the priesthood and how things were taught, whether or not, for example, they choose certain books to be a part of that canon, like especially in the Old Testament in certain time periods or not. Like all of those kind of things, those were controlled meticulously by that tradition, right? And so when that tradition was handed over to Christ's church, right, rather than it being just within the Levitical priesthood, that ability to preserve what is being handed down is something that still continues in a way. And like I'm assuming that you wouldn't probably try to say something like I'm assuming that you wouldn't probably hold to the position that the Levitical priesthood was fallible in the way that they had taught things, right?
No, but I would say that there were priests within the line that were fallible. For example,
Absolutely.
If you were to say, yeah, because Christ often opposed those in whom were a part of this Levitical priesthood. Otherwise, it was just, if it was purely the succession of the laying on of hands from the tribe of Aaron that made them authoritative, then by Christ opposing Caiaphas, he would have been wrong by default. So we know that to not necessarily. We know that to just be analytically false. So
yes.
It's now I think we have to be specific when we make the distinction between the priest versus the priesthood.
Yes, that's why my next question was going to kind of be like this. If there was, for example, a false priest within the priesthood of of the Levitical priesthood, that the church at that time would have came together basically in a sense to be able to find out if that person was a heretic or a blasphemer.
Yes, I assume that they would have taken accountability over this member and then exercised all rights to excommunicate, which has been shown throughout the biblical narrative as well as through tradition.
Yeah, and you would say obviously that in a sense God had something to do with that, right? It wasn't just the men.
Oh, yeah,
God was preventing his church from collapsing into heresies, even back then.
Yeah, absolutely. I would say that this would be providence and sovereignty throughout the entire process.
So our entire claim that we pretty much make is that due to the fact that we are the continuation of that exact same mentality regarding ecumenical councils would continue into that same mindset. Is that if the church basically had these types of meetings where they would find somebody who, like, for example, Arius, he was a real priest, right? But the church had come together to determine that he was teaching things incorrectly. And so if he was teaching things incorrectly, the church had made that decision to choose that he was incorrect. Now, granted, they did this in an order, right? There's kind of like a hierarchy to argumentation in ecumenical councils. Usually it starts at scripture. That's always the highest tier. If something refutes you in scripture, you're absolutely cooked, like immediately. So like a very obvious like thing, like for example, like if the Bible literally said the word Trinity, for example, and you deny the Trinity, you're just basically thrown out immediately. Like they're just like, okay, like you're obviously that's not what's said, but that's why there was a lot of argumentation. But it usually starts at scripture, and then it goes to liturgy. So what is actually basically what's been taught within the liturgy, because the liturgy is some of the oldest texts that actually exist for that tradition in the first place. And then the church fathers tradition, which basically is just theological argumentation from the perspective of a consensus of the church fathers, right? And then it would go down to logic, and logic would be the final thing that they would actually argue things for. So if they're in line with the first three categories, if that thing ends up still being illogical, then they would have to say, okay, well, we don't think that you're actually following what the fathers taught because the fathers weren't logical, etc., and things like that. And it would follow along that category all the way down to the point to see if somebody is within the line of teaching proper theology. But this was done in a complete conciliar manner, rather than it being like, obviously a priest taught something and then it just continued that way and then it just kind of happened, right? Like I know that's not what you're saying, but like there's a lot of people that would say something like that. I'm kind of just speaking generally. And so the claim that we obviously have is that because of the fact that we can show that we have that continuation for that exact thing, that if we have certain interpretations on scripture that's handed down from those people who can tie themselves back to when the Levitical priesthood was handed over to the order of Melchizedek, that then basically it would be that same level, right? That same level of having epistemic access like the priesthood would have with God.
Yeah, I just real quick before we continue, I don't know if I'm boring your audience with these lines of questions. I think they're probably more in the mood for someone who's more has more of an opposing posture. I don't really have that. If you need to move on at any given time, feel free to put a pin in this if that's okay.
No, we're good,
However,
dude. It's kind of more for just the general, like even though that my TikTok streams, I always host them for specific topics. I always allow people to kind of just come up and ask questions, even if it has nothing to do with like the specific topic, right? Trust me, like my chat's also very aggressive. I'm gonna be 100% real with you. So if they were bored, they'd tell you. They do it every time.
Okay, good. Yeah, so if the chat gets bored, just throw some ones in there, and I'll go ahead and jump down. I think that's fair. So just moving on, would you now the process of what we would study in any type of Protestant theological institution would be hermeneutics and the forms of exegesis and all the parts that they take. There's a great emphasis on this type of study, and so I would ask: does the Eastern Church even appeal to such study if they have this? This quoted epistemic access in which there's indexed to the patristics. Is there a need for such parsing of the scripture and laboring over the word when it can just simply be a referent that's invoked by a specific church father?
Well, people labored over the word all the way up until the schism, especially. I mean, even after the schism, the Eastern Church still labored over the word with like determining certain things from what was previously taught and then further formalizing certain doctrines, right? There's a lot of things that are within the church, especially like right before the cause of the schism. Like, for example, like St. Photius, right? Like in the 800s, right? He wrote the Mystagogy of the Holy Spirit, refuting the fact that some of the Western people were saying that the Holy Spirit proceeds from the Father and the Son. That is laboring over the word, right? Because the first thing that he quotes is John 15:26. The first thing that he does is he says, no, the scriptures say this, and then he makes arguments from the scriptures to actually make this be the case. But it's also because of the fact that he's been handed down what he's already been taught before, and then basically adding on to that laboring or adding on to those hermeneutics to say like, no, this is what's always been taught. Now I'm going to further explain why this is the case, and then adding more to it over time to the point where it eventually becomes such a fleshed out worldview that when basically, like, no offense obviously to just Protestantism in general, that when they basically come to the conclusion that people can just do it themselves, right? I'm not saying that everyone does that. I know that a lot of high church Protestants would deny that, of course. But like when they come to the conclusions that they can come to entirely different interpretations of using those hermeneutics or things like that, that in a sense it's kind of like disregarding the work and the methods that were already done for I guess at that time 1500 years, right? Because we have to look towards like 1500s of Martin Luther and stuff like that.
Oh, Marty. Yeah.
Marty McFly, yeah.
So here's an underhanded pitch. This one should be pretty easy for you. You've heard it a few times. Just wanted to get your feedback on it. If one church father disagrees with the other church father, now we have some contention, and then the church speaks as a whole. They speak as a whole when these problems become pragmatic enough to form a council. And when these councils speak, they speak with the sovereignty of the God and for God, or they speak as a council simply as finite humans. But when they speak in concert, therefore it is deemed infallible, or what's going on there?
Yeah, in Orthodoxy, something is not deemed infallible unless it is something that is basically affirmed by all of the patriarchates. And so if the church itself, all of the churches that are in communion come to the conclusion that something is the case, that is considered, as it says in the book of Acts with the Council of Jerusalem, that the Holy Spirit would be present in those cases, or something like that would be occurring. And so it's different than obviously like, the Roman Catholic worldview has a little bit difference on that, of course, with the way that they see that. But in Orthodoxy, we hold strict conciliar theology when it comes to basically the way that decisions are made in pretty much every regard.
Okay, last question, man. This one's going to be a little bit low tier, but dude, if I go to one of these things, do I got to stand up the whole time, or what? You guys don't have chairs? What's the deal with that?
Entirely depends on what kind of Orthodox church you go to. If you go to a Rokor church, like a Russian Orthodox church outside of America, if you go to one of those ones, outside of Russia, I'm sorry. If you go to one of those, there might not be pews at all. There might just not be a place to sit except for like 3 or 4 seats in the very back. But
Bryce, listen, I just want a chair, bro.
You want a chair? Can you sit in a pew?
I can do a pew, but listen, I'm just gonna be real with you. I hear these services are like 3.5 hours, bro. There's not a chair. What's going on with that?
I don't know about 3.5 hours. I mean, I would say maybe the Easter service is pretty dang long, and the Christmas service is pretty dang long. But I mean, like it's normally about like the liturgy of St. John Chrysostom, which is the standard liturgy that's used, is about an hour and a half. If you go to a feast day, I mean, it might be a little different, but at the same time, you're not required to stand. I mean, do you think those 90-year-old babushkas are standing the whole time? Some of them are because they're just crazy like that.
I don't know.
But
yeah, they're made out of a different vinyl than we are.
The glory of God keeps them standing, brother.
Yeah, amen. Okay, I guess that would take my conversation to its point of exhaustion. That's it. That's all for me.
Sure thing, bro.
All right, enjoy your night.
Yeah, enjoy your night.
Yo, what's up, Bryce?
What's up, man? What's going
on? So you said I was lying to kids? What I lied
about? Man. You lied about Saint Irenaeus somehow being a Unitarian, apparently.
Whoa, I never said that.
You did.
No, I didn't.
You want me to pull the clip?
Sure. Let's see.
All right, I got you.
Thousands a lot. No, that's good. It's good. I have 2,000 on this account. I have 2,000 on this account. I have 4,000 on my other account. But yeah. Yeah. I would stick to what the church fathers had to say and like scholars' interpretations. Yeah, so you do put up a good point, but what I so like Clement of Rome. Yeah, so like Clement of Rome in 1 Clement chapter 59 verse 4 says that the Father is alone God or alone Yahweh. We read from the Blessed Saint Irenaeus in his book Against Heresies. Book 3 chapter 9 section 1, he says that neither the prophets nor the apostles nor the Lord Jesus Christ in his own person did acknowledge any other. Don't understand. Hold on 1 second. Jesus to you. The Messiah. He's not.
So what you just said there was Saint Irenaeus. What were you trying to prove?
Yeah, that he believed that the Bible didn't profess anybody to be God except the Father. When did I say he was Unitarian?
And what view is that?
I specifically said in that conversation that I wasn't referring to Irenaeus' theology, whatever you want to say that Irenaeus believed. at least about the Bible, he believed that it didn't profess anybody to be God except the Father. So when did I say that he was Unitarian?
Would you say that he's Unitarian? You wouldn't say that?
Would I say that he's Unitarian? I would say that he verbalizes Unitarian positions.
Okay, so he verbalizes Unitarian positions, but he's not a Unitarian himself.
Well, I mean, other parts of his writings are a bit theologically contradictory to some of his other bits. So,
can you show like a single? Can you show a single church
Unitarian,
father then that would be?
Wait, can you say when I said he was Unitarian?
Why are you being polemical right now? You know what you did.
Wait, no, because you're accusing me of lying to a kid.
Yeah, you did.
About
you were trying to show that the church fathers agree with you.
No, I was showing from at least an example of a paradigm that he holds to of where they agree with me in terms of what the scriptures say.
Okay, would you say that he contradicts himself then in the other passages?
Irenaeus?
Yeah.
At certain points, yeah.
Okay, so then if you show that he's contradicting himself, then how is that even an argument towards you?
What? I was just showing what he said about the Bible. When did I say that he was Unitarian, Bryce?
Again, you literally were trying to support the fact that he supports your interpretation of the scripture. That's verbatim what you were doing. And your interpretation of the scripture is a Unitarian perspective.
Yeah, so like
that
I said,
then logically follows that then it's a Unitarian position.
Yeah, so Bryce, like I said, I specified in the conversation that regardless of how anybody thinks of Irenaeus's theology, at least what he portrays about the Bible in that passage that I quoted was correct, and that is what he verbalizes.
Okay, so would you say that in that specific section that he agrees with the Unitarian position?
About what the scriptures posit, yeah.
Okay, so then when I showed you the other sections where he seems to say something completely different, you just say that he's just contradicting himself.
I didn't look at any other sections that you brought up. I just saw the post that saying
that
you said I was lying to kids.
That makes sense.
Yeah, I just wanted to come up here and see what I was lying about. It seems like you just asserted that in...
No, I mean, I was able to prove it in the video that you were lying.
What? That I was lying about
Well,
what?
you obviously didn't. I mean, you didn't read any of the sections, so that's how I know that you don't know that you were lying at this point.
Wait, what?
Oh, was that too fast? Do you want me to say that slower?
What did I lie about?
You lied about the fact that St. Irenaeus agrees with you on the position that you were trying to support. You were up there trying to talk to those people about being Unitarian. And then when they said, I rely on the church fathers, you then started questioning, or you then started bringing up church fathers because they say, I would like to show the church, or they said that I rely on the church fathers and the scholars,
No,
right?
No, see, this is like so clear.
They didn't say that either?
That you didn't watch that
Let's
conversation.
Do it again.
I never said that they didn't say that.
No, I got you. Let's do that again.
So at certain points in the
church
conversation.
fathers had to say and like scholars' interpretations. Yes.
What did he say there?
Yeah, and so that was after I had already brought up church fathers and quoting Irenaeus.
Yeah, that's not, because actually this other section's right here.
Speak, okay?
Yeah.
I think you should
So
also
you're just gonna replay the same
watch what
clip.
the scholars
No, this is
have
a
to say
different clip.
about it. You know, you can
Oh, wait,
you
no.
can
Other
talk.
one. Sorry, my bad. Whoops.
Yeah, sure. But let me just speak, okay? Scholar.
What was that specific thing I had in here?
No, that's good. I have 2,000 on this account. I have 2,000 on this account.
Yeah, you're just replaying the same clip like I just said. And so when I quoted Irenaeus there, what did I give the reasoning for?
The fact that he supports your position on the Unitarian position.
About what the Bible states, not his theology. So I'm not claiming that he was Unitarian.
So he can give his perspective on what the Bible states without
was the
proclaiming
lie
theology,
about the quote-
Gumbo?
So was the lie about the quote, or was the lie about him being Unitarian?
You just said that he wasn't proclaiming theology. He was only proclaiming what the Bible says. That's what you just said. Is that really
that's
what
not
you?
what I said?
That's not what you just said.
I wasn't talking about Irenaeus's theology.
He was talking about what?
Yeah, to talk about what he posits the Bible says.
That's verbatim what just came out of my mouth, bro.
No, it's yo. Are you okay? Are you good?
All right, so you're just rage baiting at this point.
Who's rage baiting? You said I lied. What did I lie about?
You did. You tried to show that he was supporting the Unitarian position.
I lied about calling Irenaeus a Unitarian. When did I call him a Unitarian? By saying that he says something about the Bible?
You were claiming that he was if someone makes a claim about the Bible, are they proclaiming their theology?
Not necessarily. Irenaeus could believe that Jesus...
Literal dunce hat, bro. Like, absolutely no shot. You can make claims about the Bible, specifically about what it means, and you're not talking about theology. This dude is actually a dunce. Like, there's no way. Thank you for the easy clip. Almost coughed. Thank you for the clip, dude. Oh my gosh. Get out of here with that. Sub-Saharan, bro. Holy shit. Freaking Andrew Wilson type shit, bro. What the fuck? He's not him as in he's bad, but it's the argument he made against Daniel Kikuchi, bro. Did you see Libiano and Nick SWV? I did not. That move got me stressed because I choked on water. You've never seen that video, Jalil? When someone says sub-Saharan because they're talking about the freaking the people regarding IQ rates. Chill out, bro. I'm not saying that freaking people are bad based off of their race. He's not. He's a white guy, so obviously that has nothing to do with that. It's from something that Andrew Wilson said on a stream. Good Lord. Sorry about that, Jalil. No, I promise. It didn't mean what you thought it meant. I know that sounded bad coming out. My allegations will never be able to be will never be done, bro. You can ask Dom and Slim. I always get like really close to almost being racist for no reason, and I don't know why. Like I'll just say something funny, and then I'll be like, "Oh, that didn't sound right coming out." Gumbo's aura is unmatched, bro. He literally was freaking choking on words, bro. What are you talking about? Are you that one guy that just follows him around? Nah, it's more than close. We just tolerate you. You tolerate me? That's cool. That's cool. Bryce, is it true you have a 48 premise tag argument? It's currently at 86. It's at 86. You get a pass, a slight pass. Do I get an N-word pass? Can I say that? Come on. Just give me one. I'll say it funny. On that Jay Dyer timing? Yeah, dude, for real. Michael said go ahead. That's funny, bro. That's funny. TikTok is glitching. Yo, what's up? What's up, Ethan? How you doing, man? I see you in the chat. Glad you're here, brother. Yo, Dom's stuff is all messed up, bro. You got that goofy internet. Dom got that goofy internet. The beard getting better? I know, I'm taking care of it better. And it's not actually affecting it yet, but I'm taking hair products now to hopefully fix my hairline. So you guys bullied me into looks maxing. So appreciate that. Hey, Egg, you don't got to bring it up, bro. I'm taking care of it. All right. I'm on two different materials. Gumbo basically said Irenaeus was LARPing. Correct. That's basically what his argument was. He tried to show, like, so let me put it like this. He made an argument that the perspective of Irenaeus was a certain position on what the Bible meant. He said that had nothing to do with his theology somehow, which is very interesting, that that's how that works. And then he proceeded to, then when I showed him that there was certain things that he does say that would completely contradict his argument, he just immediately just goes, oh, that's because he was contradicting himself. Okay, so then why is he a valid source for you if you think he just contradicts himself? Obviously, that's not going to help you. A claim about how God works, by the way, by interpreting the scriptures is verbatim a theological claim. There's a reason why this guy won't freaking actually debate me on anything except for an interpretation dance of the Bible. It's the only thing that he's actually willing to debate me on. Our original debate was going to include Nicene Church Fathers, pre-Nicene Church Fathers. And now he will only accept a debate with me if it's just an interpretation dance, and that's it. So, He didn't want to talk about nothing else. Were you Protestant before Orthodox? I was. I was like Pentecostal, bro. Like Pentecostal deliverance, hallelujah, casting out demons type guy prior to this. Gumbo gesture maxing. Absolutely. Who's bricing their J right now? What? What made me convert to Orthodoxy was actually reading church history. So it's pretty much as simple as that. Reading church history and then obviously God's grace, you know. Intellectually, I was able to see it, you know, and then my heart was open to it. And things just kind of flowed through because of that. What panel is the 2v2 with Yakovos going to be on? I'm not sure yet. I think it might be on Brother Rob's. Maybe. Possibly. That might be. I just got accepted into an MDiv program at Regent. I can't wait to dig deep. That's fantastic, brother. That's awesome. Glory to God. You become Orthodox. It's too easy. I gave up on religion and church. I'm Unitarian. That's why you gave up on religion and church, brother. There's no grace in that. There's no grace in the Unitarian position, my friend. God's grace supports his church. You're going to become spiritually dead if you're not part of his church that he established, my friend. That's the reason why that would happen. Like, I'm saying this just completely genuinely, man. I'm not afraid of death, though. Well, I mean, if you gave up on religion and church and stuff like that, I'm assuming you also gave up on the possibility of going to hell. So, I mean, if that's the case, then yeah, of course you wouldn't be afraid of death anymore, but that's because you would affirm that hell is a thing now. Now I barely listen to it, just the Orthodox podcast and some chants. Yeah. Man, better than me. I still listen to a bunch of music. Some of it's pretty bad, too. That's one of my vices. I'm really bad with music. I listen to some bad music sometimes, man. What's up?
Yo, what's up?
Nothing much.
Yeah, why do you believe God exists?
Dude, I swear you're literally the guy I just talked to.
I don't know who that is.
Bro, am I being trolled right now? Like, are you guys all just sound the same?
I don't know.
Are you messing with me?
No, I just want to know why you believe God exists.
I mean, do you want like a real argument, or are you just asking me from like a faith perspective? I don't understand.
Not probably an argument.
I just believe that there's enough philosophical evidence to determine that in some way, shape, or form, there's at least a first mover to then look into Orthodoxy or look into Christianity in general. Obviously, like that would just be a generic argumentation. I'm not talking about the first mover argument specifically, but I do believe that there's enough philosophical arguments to come to the conclusion that there is a first mover.
So it's probability raising under those arguments, even if
yeah,
false?
exactly. He sounds just like Gumbo. Are you Gumbo, bro?
I don't know who that is.
Denounce Jesus as your Lord and Savior right now.
Jesus isn't God.
No, denounce him as your Lord and Savior.
I denounce Jesus as my Lord and Savior.
Okay, sorry.
So,
you sound exactly like him, bro. I'm sorry. Like literally,
right.
like perfectly like him.
So when you say there's enough evidence that you take it to be the case that there was a prime mover, is that to say that the probability is over 50% given the arguments that you've heard?
What?
Because you're saying that it's probably the case that a prime mover exists because of the arguments that exist, right?
I mean, I'm saying that like that there's enough argumentations that exist out there. Granted, like I can use specific ones if you'd like, but like in a general sense, if we're just having a conversation, I'm saying I believe in God in a general sense because that there's enough arguments to actually determine that to be the case.
Wouldn't when you say enough there, that means like they aren't deductive because
Again, I'm not making a literal like deductive claim. I'm not making a logical conclusion. I'm just talking with you, like.
Yeah, I mean, but like there's probably a lot of arguments for the problem of evil, but I don't believe it.
Okay.
Yeah, so.
I mean, there's usually just one problem of evil specifically, unless you're talking about the Euthyphro dilemma as a different argument, which I think is still just a problem of evil.
No, I mean like the evidential versus the logical and like the many different versions.
Oh, you're talking about like looking around and seeing bad things happen, like as in evidential?
No, that it's like less expected under God being all good.
Less expected under God being all good. Would you say what you said? You deny the problem of evil, though, right? Like you don't think it's.
Yeah, I don't think they work.
Why is that? I'm just curious.
Because you can just affirm like purification theory.
Okay. But yeah, I mean, like that's pretty much just kind of like my, general acceptance. Like it's me just casually talking about it, but.
So I mean, so you think like a prime mover exists, right? So you probably don't agree with like an infinite regress, then, right?
No, I don't think infinite regress. No, I don't think infinite regresses are parsimonious at all to determine a worldview to be the case.
They're not parsimonious, but they're logically possible.
Honestly, I don't really even think that they're logically possible. I mean, I think that honestly, I wouldn't say that the worldview in of itself, like the actual declaring of an infinite regress, is logically impossible, just on its own. But I think that it would make it to where whatever worldview you're holding to that has an infinite regress makes it impossible to like epistemically verify anything. Like it would become problematic.
I don't know what you mean by be epistemically like inaccessible.
Yeah, so like for example, like there's certain Muslim sects that would affirm that like they can use something like kalam, for example, to show contingency and necessity, but then they would hold the Neoplatonic perspective of basically there being some form of eternal infinite regress of creation. So then if there's an infinite regress of all contingent things, and therefore you can never actually verify that anything necessary exists because it's just an infinite set of contingencies. That's what I mean by that. It's basically saying you can't epistemically like access pretty much the thing you're trying to prove in the first place.
Yeah, sure. If you like hold like the metaphysical views that the Muslim does, but if you just like bake that into your metaphysics, why is it a problem like epistemically?
Again, because if you're actually trying to make the claim of certain things and it's baked into your worldview that there's infinite regresses at the foundational level, right? So, and like the reason why I'm saying that not everything is completely just, or it's not completely on its own logically impossible is because like there's other things like circular reasoning, for example, like under like a coherentist worldview, like circular reasoning can be considered virtuous in a sense. Right, if you're talking about it from different perspectives within that worldview, all verifying each other rather than like one thing verifying itself over and over, right? So it'd be a different kind of circularity. So like there isn't a sense when you get down to the like the axiomatic level where things become an infinite regress of like, well, it's verified because it's self-evident. Well, it's self-evident because it's blah blah blah. You know what I mean?
Well, I mean the axioms just work in the system that's being used, but like I'm not gonna go here and say that I hold to pair-consistent logic. But when you say like epistemic access, like I think we have like different understandings of what that means.
Maybe.
Yeah, because I just mean as like the ability to like understand.
Yeah, no, I wouldn't really take it like that. When I say like epistemic access, I'm talking about like the ability to verify that something is verifiable in the first place. Like it's just the basic, like the study of knowledge, understanding of epistemology, just the absolute baseline. Where we're talking about any form of knowledge whatsoever, that there would be a that if you're able to have epistemic access to something, you're capable of making an argument for whatever that epistemology is, rather than declaring something as like, for example, an axiom or something like that.
And so, like under that definition, how does that tie to like an infinite regress, being like epistemically inaccessible?
It would have to depend on the worldview. Like I said, I don't completely deny it in general. It depends on how you use it. That's why I didn't say that I completely just deny it in general. It depends on what you're trying to use infinite regress for in your worldview. It depends on what you're trying to use it for.
And so you said it's more parsimonious than less parsimonious than a prime mover. Why is that?
Yeah, because parsimony when we're talking about like the utility of something or the usefulness of something. If you concede something like an infinite regress at the epistemic level, that it's not as parsimonious because epistemic access would be a lot harder than somebody who's able to verify their epistemology using other methods.
Wait, what do you think parsimony means?
Utility and usefulness.
That is not my understanding of parsimony. I've never heard that definition.
Hold on, because like that's
like philosophically, it just means like simpler with like the same explanatory power. It's like different kinds, like qualitative, quantitative. But if you're just talking about utility, I mean, sure, but
so you'd say that
parsimony
it's
is what
less
you
utility.
actually.
What?
Go ahead. No, I'm just saying parsimony is like you use it to conclude what's more probable.
I'm like confusing it with another word that starts with a P. What the hell is it? I'm actually like genuine right now. There's another word with a P that I'm doing it with. What is the word? Anybody in chat? Like it starts with a P. Gosh, I'm sorry.
Practical.
I don't even think it's practical, bro.
Oh no, that was a bad shot.
I don't think it's practical. I don't even think it's something I would say is practical. Pragmatic. Gosh, sorry, I don't usually study like a lot of the things that are more used by like analytical philosophy and stuff like that. And this is kind of like I study like scholastic theology and stuff like that and philosophy from the medieval ages. They don't usually use those words, so I've been learning them recently because I'm learning about like, you know, the different rigid worldviews and things like that.
Have you heard of like? I'm pretty sure you have like Ian's argument against any type of atemporal beginning to the universe.
I mean I heard it like once or twice like on his own live, but I don't like watch him, so I don't have the ability to like write it down and like study it or anything like that. I'm pretty sure he actually brought it up to me last time I talked to him, but it's been so long. It's been like a year and a half since I spoke to him.
So like if there's a prime mover, what makes you like motivated to think like it's a mind?
Well, I mean, that would be kind of like more of an argument from like divine conceptualism is why I would make the argument that it would have to be a mind. Like the Augustinian proof.
And that's just like abstract objects exist in the mind of God, right?
Yeah.
And wait, and so how would you use that to show that like this is a mind that causes the universe?
Yeah, so like if we're talking about like, do you want me to just use the argument or what?
I mean, sure.
Okay. Premise 1 is that truths are propositions that correspond to reality.
Okay.
Premise 2 is that propositions are inherently mind dependent and they exist as contents of thought or intellect.
Yeah.
Conclusion 1, it's not over, it's just simple. Conclusion 1, therefore necessary truths are mind dependent.
Wait, so like the necessary truths, they aren't like necessary logically because they require a mind. I mean, metaphysically because they require a mind. So in all possible worlds, the language system wouldn't exist.
I'm talking about truth because truths are propositions that correspond to reality, right?
Wait, the truth value of the propositions, but truth itself, I mean, I think you have to be committed to saying that because truth is still conceptual. But saying it's necessary, therefore, like necessary propositions,
yeah.
I don't know what it means for necessary propositions to exist.
So would you say that there's necessary truths?
Under my definition of what truth is, no.
Necessary as in all possible worlds that there's something that can be true. But
it requires a conditional. If propositional content exists, then it has to be true. If not the propositional
content exists, then it has to be true. What?
Yeah, that's what I mean by it's necessary in all possible worlds. Because if the propositional content doesn't exist, absent mind, there's no proposition to be true and false. So
I mean, if there's no proposition, of course, then it would not be considered declared as true in any sense.
But that's what this trying to say. It bakes in that there's actual like language systems in all possible worlds. But I'm saying there's conditional.
I mean, like it's not really presupposing a form of like linguistic or like a language in all possible worlds. It's kind of it's saying that like propositions themselves don't. It doesn't. In our view, right? We wouldn't say that like a proposition by itself requires like a language if there is obviously if we believe that there's something that's external to literally speaking like English or something like that. That there's a way like minds and stuff like that would not be by itself physical. We would say, you know, things like that. That's why it's the argument for divine conceptualism in the first place.
And so the conclusion, it's under logical modality, right?
Say again.
The conclusion is logical necessity, right?
I mean, it would be necessary, like just in all possible worlds generally.
Okay, so I think that's metaphysical, but so I think I wouldn't that's not entailed from the two premises, because like I said, if you said it's necessary in all possible worlds, then you're saying that the language system exists in all possible worlds necessarily, given what I define a proposition to be. But that isn't true.
I'm sorry.
Well, what I take a proposition to be is like a language system, and so when you say it's necessary that these propositions are true, then you're presupposing that the language system exists in all possible worlds. But
So then you wouldn't agree that truth is a proposition that corresponds to reality?
Wait, say it again?
Truth is a proposition that corresponds to reality.
No, I think you can say that, yeah.
Okay. So then truths are propositions.
Under that definition, yeah, under that definition I can say that. I can't say that it's necessary.
So then truth what?
No, necessary truths under that definition doesn't exist. Or don't exist.
So you deny P1 then? I don't understand.
No, under the definition of what a truth is, now that I've got clear it's a proposition, it has to have propositional content, then no, I wouldn't affirm P1.
I'm sorry. So then when we're talking about truth, right, if we're talking about it as a proposition, right, in what other sense is truth again?
We can say it's only propositional. That's fine.
Okay. So then you would agree with it then?
No, because what it means to be necessary presupposes a language system, right?
Premise 1 isn't talking about the necessity yet.
What is premise 1?
Truths are proposition. No, that's conclusion 1.
Oh, okay. Then I think that I messed that up. Yeah, I disagree with the conclusion being entailed. I mean, the conclusion saying anything about wait, actually, I don't think the conclusion entailed. Yeah.
Okay. So when I asked you if you think that necessary truths, I asked if necessary truths exist. Necessary truths, and when it comes to premise 1, if truths are propositions that correspond to reality, if I said necessary truths are a thing in any sense, that if they do exist, then they are mind dependent.
Yeah, I'd agree with that if they exist, but I don't think they do.
Okay, so that so do you agree with P1 then, or what?
No, because what it means to be true, right, presupposes like a language system that has propositional content, and I don't think it's necessary that propositional content exists.
Something isn't true unless there's a language.
Yeah, because when you say true, it means the truth value of a proposition. So it necessarily requires a proposition, which requires a mind.
Are you saying it in the sense of a physical language in any sense? Like just standard linguistics of like a human being?
No, I'm saying no minds exist, propositions don't exist.
Minds exist, propositions don't exist.
Oh, no minds exist, propositions don't exist.
Sorry. Yes.
Like logic wouldn't exist absent mind.
Okay, cool. And would you say that logic is necessary in all possible worlds?
No.
No.
The language system, no, because logic's a language system. You could say it's abstract, but I don't think it's abstract as well.
Again, like logic in of itself is something that, well, first off, logic in of itself is not something that requires a language system by itself. Because there's things that exist, for example, that can be logical without it being linguistic in any sense.
Okay, sure. So are you saying logic's an abstract that like determines over concretes?
Yes.
Okay, yeah, sure, under that definition, logic necessary. But
okay.
If you mean like the actual axioms, no.
Wait. So you agree with it in what sense and deny it in what sense?
I just mean anything that requires a language system is false. The axioms require a language system, but the term abstract determining over concretes.
Would you say stating it or the existence of the axiom itself? Right. So there's a difference between like us referring to the axiom versus the actual axiom itself. Those are not the same thing.
Wait. So the axiom itself means what again? Like the abstract, right?
Yes.
Okay. Yeah. Sure.
And would you say that anything that's abstract requires a mind?
No. Like under Platonism, I don't think they require a mind.
Are you Platonist?
I don't even think abstract objects exist.
Okay, dude. I don't even know where we are anymore.
No, but I'm saying that it wants to say abstract objects require a mind, but propositional content isn't abstract.
Propositional content isn't abstract.
No, like the actual language system isn't abstract.
If you're are you talking about the vibrations of our vocal cords is not abstract? Sure.
Okay, and so
but the usage of language in of itself is definitely abstract.
Wait, the concepts are abstract?
Are you trolling me?
No, I'm just saying. Wait, let me just deny abstracts. Why do I think abstract objects exist? Because I don't think I should.
Okay, dude, I don't even know what's going on anymore. Like you're
No,
just
'cause I
like
said
you're
even
like,
abstract objects existing doesn't entail like divine conceptualism.
No, this is absolutely ridiculous. I don't know. Like this is like that guy's trolling me. That guy has to be trolling me. When I'm giving premises, I'm giving them specifically to see if you agree with them or not. But then every time that we would go to like a certain premise, you'd accept it, and then I would get to a conclusion, and then you would deny P1, and then you'd be like, never mind, I accept P1. I'd be like, okay, so then conclusion 1. I'd be like, no, well then I deny P1 again. What the fuck? What are we doing? Like that's just sophistry. I don't know what to do at that point.
Yo, that guy did not know semiotics, because semiotics is the science of language, and there's actually no logical relationship between the word and the idea generated when you hear or see the word. So that guy doesn't even know that language itself is an abstraction.
I was trying to make that claim itself, because like if we're referring to something by itself or referring to something in abstract, that we're not literally like it's not like the vocal cords moving. Sure, that's not abstract, right? Like if we're talking about like speaking or something like that.
Yeah, I mean, this semiotics 101. It's called, the signified and signifier. This is literally like the science of language. Like the dude's a total idiot, bro.
He wants to come back up again. Do you want to talk to him? Because like I got nowhere.
Yeah,
like
just mention semiotics.
It was just like a sophistry thing. Go ahead. I don't know it.
Yeah. So what's a semiotic again?
Semiotics is signified and signifier. So the signifier is like the word or the utterance of the word or the word as written, and then signified is like the idea that like pops into your head associated with the word, like tree. And there's no logical relationship between like the word. When I say the word tree, there's nothing logical there that connects what I'm saying to that idea you have of a tree. So, I mean, language itself and meaning is abstraction. So communication, when you communicate, you're committing a number of abstractions.
Okay, and so an abstract object is what, just to be clear?
It's an object that isn't experientially given in the present moment.
But they okay, so do they exist just conceptually, or do they exist somewhere else? Or...
Well, I mean, it depends on who you ask. Because like I said, you know about Platonism. Well, I believe that abstract objects really exist.
Like in a third realm or something?
Yeah.
Okay, and so is that necessary for the argument to work or no?
Well, I don't know. I don't know what Bryce's argument was. I just came in when I heard you saying
I was just doing divine conceptualism. So
no, I'm saying there's no problem with I don't know what the problem is with denying abstraction altogether.
Wait, what?
I don't know what the problem is with denying abstraction altogether.
Denying abstraction?
Yeah, abstract objects don't exist.
So, I mean, every time you invoke memory, that you're invoking an abstraction. Because, memory doesn't exist as an experiential present. Memory is an abstraction. So every time you use memory to engage in some kind of behavior, based off of that memory, like when you wake up in your home and you know where to go, you're engaging in abstraction to cause current events.
Okay, wait, so, I mean, obviously if I think the mind is physical, then it'd just be like a neuron in my brain.
Yeah, but okay, so that's just an appearance of the experience. So you're not, when you look at a neuron, you're not seeing that complex, you're not seeing from a first person perspective what that person felt or thought. You're just seeing the neuron. So I agree with you in one sense. I believe that neurons are the physical appearance of thoughts and feelings, but they don't show you the feeling or thought as it is experienced by the person. So that doesn't actually help your case.
So you agree with physicalism, but you think the actual experience...
No, I don't agree with physicalism. I believe in dual aspect theory. So I would kind of agree with the idealists or kind of panpsychist there, but not to the full extent. And I think that's completely compatible with Eastern Orthodox metaphysics. So
okay, and so if physicalism...
it's not physicalism.
I'm just asking, if physicalism is true, right, then abstract objects don't have to exist, right?
no, they still have to exist if physicalism is true.
Okay, and so you're saying that the experience is what's abstract, not the actual representation of that experience.
No, the representation is abstract because the representation isn't currently given.
Okay, what if I say the experience is the neuron?
I told you the issue. There's no issue with that. I believe that the neuron is the appearance of the experience.
It isn't the appearance; it is the experience. That's type of physicalism.
Okay, but that's just a basic contradiction, because you're saying A is B you're saying A is B when A does not describe what B is. So it's like the opposite of the law of identity, where A is A. You're like saying that a quantitative isolation of a unit, right, is the complex experience, qualitative experience. So this is just basic qualitative versus quantitative category error.
Okay, so it's just like the hard problem, but
it's not the hard problem. No, it's literally
that's
not.
Literally what the hard problem is.
I believe that the brain literally is the appearance of the experiences that are going on. I don't have an issue with that.
Fine, but that is what the hard problem is. But you can just affirm an epistemic gap. Like we haven't ever experienced or tested the set of neurons that are existent in the brain, right? We don't have any testable evidence for that to see if it actually does produce these subjective experiences when we view them. So when you say that when we view a neuron, it doesn't seem like to be a subjective experience. We viewed a neuron before. We haven't viewed like the epistemic gap between what our minds have and what a neuron is.
No, I'm saying even if they are the same thing, they're actually not the same thing by virtue of being qualitative versus quantitative. So that necessitates an underlying principle that bridges the gap. So you're already, when you try to say that the neuron is the experience, you're already implicitly relying on, you're basically invoking monism, or that there's an underlying substance or unifying principle that closes the gap. So you can't escape monism if you're going to try to say that they're the same thing.
I'm not trying to evade it. I never said I did. But I could be a monist in physics. I think physicalism entails monism.
Okay, but it doesn't entail a physicalist monism because the underlying experience wouldn't be identical or reduced to the thing that is being experienced by you.
And the reason why it can't be is because it's a different identity state, because it's qualitative versus
it's qualitative versus quantitative. Yeah.
Okay, and
so different identities.
Wait, that's under our conceptual notion, given we don't have epistemic access. But granted we do, right? We can say they're the same thing.
Yeah, but you would have to posit an underlying substance that bridges the gap, since they're not the same thing by virtue of identity.
Wait, that's given our epistemic access to what we already know.
Well, I could look at my brain through brain scans, but that doesn't, when I look at that, I'm not seeing the first person memory I have of that instance. So.
Yeah, because that's not what it means to have subjective experience. It isn't to look at neurons. You don't see the subjective experience. It means to be, like, the neurons are the subjective experience. So you obviously, like, your neurons aren't her neurons or their neurons, right? That's obviously true. Just different case of identity.
Again, I don't have an issue with you saying that they're, like, identical in a sense, but that sense in which they're identical is not the reductionist, thing that you observe. It would be that there's some kind of underlying substance that bridges the two, like I told you.
Well, I don't think there's any, underlying substance that bridges the two would be, in a material mind. But that's not necessary given there's an epistemic gap, but it's still physical.
Wait, what are you even saying now? I'm not even sure what you're saying now.
No, you're saying that there has to be some type of underlying substance that bridges the gap epistemically, but I can say that that epistemic gap exists, right? And you're still a physicalist.
I'm not a physicalist.
Right. No, I'm saying you can do that. If you're saying there's some type of parsimonious decision in becoming an idealist or whatever, saying the mind's immaterial, I don't think that's true.
Well, I just told you the issue with that.
Yeah, because you said again, right?
How about this? The isolated quantified unit depends on the qualitative experience as prior to even organize the unit, the isolated quantitative unit as meaningful. So before you even have that, the X means Y. Before you even have that, you have to have the experience of that thing.
Okay, so the quantitative assignment of the qualia requires the qualia to exist beforehand.
Yeah, and that's why all physicalists inadvertently basically commit to panpsychism without even knowing it. Every time you say that there's a dual aspect theory, you're literally just committing to panpsychism.
And so the qualitative set is the neurons observed.
No, the quantitative set is the neurons observed. The qualitative set would be the experiences associated with those neurons.
Okay, and so you're saying that it's necessary. The necessary precondition of observing this qualitative state is the quantitative experience beforehand. What if I say it's the opposite?
All right.
Well, I mean,
I'm I'm gonna go ahead and just move on. I appreciate you guys coming up here and doing that, but that's, dude. I swear, Michael, I swear, dude. First off, I like studying that kind of stuff, but every time that I study stuff like that, I feel like I know it's not true because people have been studying this shit for thousands of years, right? But like I feel like every time that I try to dive into like logic, like hard logic, or like diving into like philosophy of mind or things like that, like especially like on the analytical side, that like it literally just feels so like sophistic, like, and I know it's probably just because of a knowledge gap problem for me, and I'm just old, but holy shit, bro. Like the fact that they talked about all of the things that they just talked about and literally nothing happened is insane to me. That shit always blows my mind. Like, am I tripping? Because like, I think I'm just tripping. But like, oh my gosh. Like, it's probably just a knowledge gap. Maybe I'm just stupid. But like, good lord, bro. Like, dude, Michael, I swear, bro, I am just gonna go to Saint Demetrius Staniloy, and I am literally just gonna start doing the argument, his argument for God, the I think it's called like psychoharmonious love or something like that, or it's basically it's basically a psychological argument for God. I swear I'm gonna start doing stuff like that. Like, just so that I don't have to hear any of that shit. Psychophysical harmony. Yeah, that's what St. Demetrius Staniloy did. And, like, I swear I'm just going to start doing psychophysical harmony, bro. Like, all right. Let's continue. What's up, Sanji?
Hey, I was yeah, I was talking to some metaphysics today, and I formulated this like I don't know their metaphysics very well, and I know that you're studying Christology.
Yeah.
So I formulated this little argument. I think it's a version of a pretty common one, and I was curious of your thoughts. I haven't like put it in premises, but the general idea is like, all right, they believe in one nature, which is a composite nature, so it has properties from both the divine and the human.
Yeah.
The divine nature cannot be positively predicated of. So when we say that he is uncreated, it's a negation of the property of being created.
Yep.
So they
Apophatic
have to
theology.
say that Christ, in his one nature, both has the positive property of being created by his human nature, and then also negate that he has that property.
Do you want me to do you want me to
nature.
do you want me to try to be like them? How I'd respond to that if I was one of them?
Yeah, I'm kind of curious what exactly the
Yeah,
response
I would just admit that there is still even after the union, if there's one nature, there's still two sets of properties. So if it's he's created in one sense and uncreated in another sense, there wouldn't be a contradiction. That's what, if I was a meophysite, that would be like my answer.
Right, it's two sets of properties. It's kind of what I anticipated. And
Yeah, they would
went
still
down
admit
this
there's two
route.
sets. Now, granted, you can further that argument if they reply with something like that by basically saying like, does a set of properties denote a nature?
Right, yeah.
Right. And if they say no, well, then in that case, then basically what does it denote? If they say yes, then at that point, if you're capable of enumerating the sets of properties, then why can't you enumerate the natures themselves?
Right. The two sets is kind of what I anticipated, which is why I think the negation route is interesting, because they're not saying that he has one set of properties, which
Yeah, they wouldn't say that.
contains the
That'd
property
be
of
like the monophysite position, like Eutychian.
right. Yeah, they're not saying that he has like a set which has the property of being uncreated and a set which has the property of created. since uncreatedness isn't positively attributed, they're just saying that he lacks the property of being created. Like
Yep.
that would be all it denotes.
Yeah, because
So
they
I
would
don't
admit because
see.
they would admit that there's two real sets of qualities, right? Like if they're
Mhm.
talking about like the properties themselves, but they wouldn't admit that there's two natures just off of that. They would say that there's one nature and two property or two sets of properties. But then like obviously if we're talking about like what the set denotes, if we're talking about a set,
Mhm.
but then they'll say, oh, it denotes his humanity. Oh, this one or this set denotes his divinity. Okay, so if the sets are really distinct, then or the nature is really distinct. Okay, so if they're really distinct, they can be enumerated. No.
Right, they say they can only be enumerated in theory, right?
Yeah, it's just like okay, so like can the sets of properties also only be enumerated in Theoria?
Right.
And if that's the
How do
case, then
they?
it would then be one set.
Right. How do we define nature? Because I know that they would say it's like a one concretized substance, right? But what is
Are you talking about hypostasis?
no? How would we define nature?
Nature? That would just be
Mhm.
considered like the whatness of something. Right? So like
I think
what's
Bo
something that's
Branson, yeah, he calls it like a bundle of properties, right?
a bundle of tropes.
Right.
I wouldn't use that.
So,
That's very analytical and it doesn't
mhm.
really like I'm gonna be real with you, like it's cool and it's not like heretical to say, but like it's not like Mia Fizlai has a really easy way out of that if you try to use like the analytical run
Mhm.
from Dr. Bo Branson because they'll simply just be like, no, I reject analytical philosophy. Like I don't care
Right.
about any of that. I reject bundle
Yeah.
trope theory, trope bundle theory.
How
And then you're like,
exactly? Right. How exactly do they define nature? Like when I first heard about metaphysics, it was
well, that
hard for me
depends
to
if you're talking
understand what
about
they were even saying.
that depends if you're talking about nature or if you're talking about essence. Because like if you're talking about usia, it simply would just be like just like an abstract universal, right? In their view,
Mhm.
kind of like how Saint Basil calls it, like in what work is that? I think it's against Eunomius. Um, but like nature as like physis, right? Like that would be
Mhm.
like a concretized essence
Interesting.
or
So,
um, an individually denoted essence.
so can they say that Christ has two essences? I don't
So,
feel like I understood that right.
yes, sometimes they will, sometimes they won't, because Agin admitted that Christ has two usia in a
Huh.
debate with Sig. So, I mean,
Interesting.
that happened. But, like, in their view, it doesn't really mean anything. Like, in their view,
Mhm.
they can say Christ has two usia because usia is, like, it means pretty much nothing in their view. Like it's just like we say it's the whatness and we believe that like the universal that we're talking about is something that actually has some kind of ontology. Like in their view, there's
Mhm.
like no ontology to like essence, like in an actual sense. So they can just say, sure, he has two essences, and in their view, it doesn't matter because they don't actually denote like an object. Like so there's not two objects in Christ, even if they say there's two essences, like in their view.
Mhm. What do you think is the strongest argument against metaphysics?
I mean, like the main thing that I do is I try to just collapse them into saying that there's a real distinction, and then making them justify the reasoning behind why they can't enumerate things that are really distinct from each other. Because like
Mhm.
if that the logical conclusion to like coming to that, if they hold that position, that it basically they have to admit that they have an ad hoc rescue with that in the Trinity.
Right.
Right, because then when we actually are enumerating the persons who are really distinct from each other, you can enumerate three persons, right? But then
Mhm.
if they're because they're really distinct from each other. But then if we're able to show that there is some kind of actual, if there's some kind of like actual, like real distinction or whatever between the natures, that if you can't enumerate them, then that basically then they're not really distinct, right? And they would say that the natures are really distinct. They wouldn't deny that. They just
Mhm.
wouldn't say that you can enumerate them as two. See, that's the problem with trying to argue with them, is that they'll basically get almost identical to our position just for them to say, but you can't say two, like just right at the end. And you're just like, okay, bro.
Right. That's like I've watched debates recently with metaphysites, and it really just seems like they will almost admit the diophysite position and just not want to say two. Like it's hard for me to because even we say that like we have a cat epinoia, right, instead of entheoria. it's
I
a
mean, like
very
we would use,
similar
like we kind of
thing.
have like in theoria as well, because like Cyril's
Right.
like when Cyril denotes something as like in theoria, he refers to it as eye of the soul, right? So like in our view, that means that we're actually denoting the truth or the ontology of something. Like we really are determining that. That's the doctrine of the nous in Orthodoxy, is the eye of the soul. That's literally the whole point of that. And so if they say that something is distinct in the eye of the soul, that's saying that it is true. Like it is a real thing that we are seeing, right? It's undivided, but we can come to the conclusion that there is an actual distinction between them. Now, granted, yes, in Greek, like a lot of the fathers rather used kat epinoia, which is basically just, in reality, there still is a distinction, but it's only seen in conception. Does that make sense? It's not the same thing as saying that they're really distinct in like an ontology, to where like it's so, dude, kat epinoia is so incredibly complicated. It's the main reason why St. Gregory Palamas didn't use it when he was talking about EED. Like, because like kat epinoia has so many different entailments, but they're all like none of them like contradict each other or anything. But like saying that like something is really distinct, for example. But there's people that will say kat epinoia is basically saying that something is really distinct in the mind.
Yeah, and that's pretty much just like a conceptual distinction, right? Or a
Well,
spiritual
no. So
distinction.
that's the thing, though, is that it's not, because if basically there is, in terms of the ontology of something, it's conceptual. There's not a literal other ontology that exists. Like, for example, if we use essence energies distinction, for example, if I say that the essence is really distinct from the energies, I'm not saying it's another res. I'm not saying it's another thing. Right. I'm not saying that there's literally two denotable objects that are not each other in reality, other than conceptualizing it that way. So it's basically conceiving of something. There is a distinction there in reality. It's being denoted in your minds, though. It's different than just saying we're denoting a distinction that's a conceptual distinction, which is not the same thing as saying something is really distinct, and but we denote it in the mind.
Right.
It's
that
not,
was like, I remember
it's
reading, I think it was in the Cappadocians. I'm forgetting who exactly said this. One of them said the distinction of the persons is one that we only see kat epinoia. And I was so confused reading that, because I thought it like, well, then you're collapsing like modalism.
Exactly. But
yeah,
it
it's
seems that
very
way.
complicated.
But that's because of the fact that, so the reason why they're distinct kat epinoia is because there's not three gods. Do you understand?
Right. There's only one
They're
single
not
X,
really,
so we see it as one God.
Yes.
Or,
the distinction is real, but we can only conceive of him as one, because he truly is just only one. But there is a real distinction that can be denoted with the eye of the soul. That doesn't mean he's not literally like, because if there was a real distinction that's like farther than kat epinoia, technically speaking, as in not in conception in any sense, then therefore there would be three gods. Like that's just
right.
Because like we're making the distinction off of the relations, right? And if we're making the distinction off of the relations, and the relations are true relations in God, if we denote these true relations that are in God, then the distinction is real. But but the relations are not something that is spoken of unless a human being speaks of it. But we're still denoting truth.
Right. Yeah, it gets very complicated. Do you have a certain like diophysite debater that you think is best at dealing with Orientals?
Abdul Masih.
Oh, I've seen him in your Discord.
Yeah, I would say, like, in my opinion, he's the guy that I would recommend the most for that. I always, every time a Miaphysite joins my Discord, I always just point him at Abdul, like literally every time.
Yeah, does he have a channel?
He does not have a YouTube channel, but he does TikTok lives sometimes. He's kind of just like he's kind of just one of those like golden eggs that just hangs out in Discord, bro. There he is, right there.
Yeah.
Honestly, Abdul, can you come up here for a minute?
Oh yeah, he was he in the tier list you made?
Yeah, he was. Tanji, so Tanji had some like specific questions about like some really in-depth stuff regarding like Miaphysitism, and like I gave him an answer, but like I'm assuming you could probably spurg out a lot harder than me.
What makes you think I'm your Pokemon, bro?
I don't think you're my Pokemon. I didn't request you. I just recommended you as somebody to talk to, which I think you should be happy about that, right? Like I think you're a great person to talk to in terms of this topic. I always direct people to you when someone says like, "Who should I talk to?" That's a diophysite on this stuff. I said Abdul.
Yeah, I was just scrolling by and I heard my name and I was like, "Oop, talking about me."
People ask me all the time if you have a YouTube channel, bro. He's not even the first person to do that. You need to make a damn YouTube channel and just start going hard.
No, I got a life.
Come on.
What's up, Tanji?
I gotta go pee.
Yeah, I was talking about like the idea of first. I'm still kind of trying to learn metaphysics. So I came up and I was asking Bryce about this certain argument that I was thinking of, where they say that Christ has one composite nature, and he has two properties. So they could say that he is both created and uncreated by virtue of having two different properties. But uncreatedness is not a positive property, since you can't positively predicate of the essence. Therefore, they would have to be negating createdness. So it's saying that he lacks the property of createdness and also has that property. Bryce was saying they still believe there's two different sets of properties.
Yeah, they do.
And that was kind of like confusing, because I think for us, we almost define nature as like a set of properties.
Well, they're defining nature. Well, I mean, if you give the real understanding of nature, as Cyril puts it, it's just something that's real, something that exists. Nature for them can have a twofold definition. It could either be a primary substance that is like a hypostasis, or it could be the secondary substance, ousia, or like a metaphysical essence, like how the scholastics will denote like a metaphysical essence. But it seems like they take it to mean the universal or the particular. But they won't reject like metaphysical essence unless like they just like fall into like some type of nominalism, which some have, but some would, like the ones that I speak to that actually read some type of philosophy, will be like a modern realist. So it just depends when you're talking to them. Like it's hard because it's like when you hear nature, you can go a set of properties. I know St. Maximus defines it as a principle of motion and repose, saying the Damascene, or just something real. But you have to just ask them. Like when they say that, be like, okay, when you say nature, what do you mean by that? Because it could either be the universal or the particular. So they'll switch around.
Right. A lot of times it sounds like we don't even disagree with them on that much. Like I'll ask what they believe or what they mean when they say there's only one nature, and they would say something that's I think we would agree on.
Yeah, no,
Right, so
one
it's-
nature just means, when they say one composite nature, they just mean one composite hypostasis or particular. Because remember,
Right.
nature can change. The definition changes. So if that, like, for example, they'll say there's one composite nature. For us, what we're hearing is there's one composite motion of principle of motion and repose, which makes no sense. Then it's like, for us, that's a churchum quid. Then when you keep asking the question, if you're genuine and you don't want to be like, just messed up, they'll be like, no. I mean like a composite particular. And you're like, okay, I agree. Christ is a composite particular, not like a a physical composition or metaphysical composition, but just composition in the sense that there's two extremes and there's a unification. Now, that's really what they mean when they say one nature. And I mean, I had this conversation a lot. You really can't condemn it because of the way Cyril uses the word nature, and Athanasius, how the Alexander Fathers use it. You really just can't be like, oh, that's just completely heretical. Now,
it's not the position that was actually denied technically at Chalcedon in like a general sense.
We do, like, language does get refined over the years, as you can see in multiple councils. So they don't have really no reason to accept it. It's really just like, with that entailment, how do we speak of Christ post-union, even in the case of, even if you hold to some type of composite nature, fine. But does he still have two modes of existence? As in his own nature, when we just contemplate him in the bosom of the Father, we obviously, there's no nature there's no humanity to predicate upon him. Then in creation, he's not just a human being, but he's what the fathers would call a theandric hypostasis. So we, because of Eutychius's nonsense that the humanity gets assumed, the point of Chalcedon was to distinguish the ways we could speak of Christ. Then counting now is just by identity, and by identity is not no bringing up some scholastic. It's just like obliquely, you could say obliquely, or just as Saint Gregory the theologian or John Damascus would say, it's just the quantity of things signified in the same category. If the category we're speaking here is nature, well, there's divine, human, quantity. That's two. That's all we mean. St. Maximus in letter 12 and 13, that's literally how he explains. He uses a rock that's made of different color. In the principle or logos of rockness, there's only one to be confessed. But in the principle of color, let's say this rock has red, blue, and green. Well, that's three colors. That doesn't divide the rock itself. It's still one single rock. That's all we mean by counting. They take a different approach, which is division. I mean, unity negating division. If there's a numerical unity, only one can be confessed, and you cannot confess a multiplicity because they're not gonna agree that is a quantitative distinction. They're not gonna concede that. They'll say it's a qualitative distinction. That's why there's two natural qualities.
Right. Yeah, it was very confusing to me when I first started looking into the Miaphysite debate, because it always sounded like we were almost saying the exact same thing. Do you think that the schism at this point is primarily theology, or do you think it's primarily about saints?
It's both. It'll be hard. Like, let's say, for example, like
Severus is a heretic, bro.
Oh yeah, no.
Right.
Like that's
Yeah.
the problem with like a lot of this stuff, is that even though that when you actually like bleed their system down and you really get into it, like you kind of like get what Abdul said, where it's kind of like, I mean, it's not at its root that bad, but like then when you actually read the people that doubled down on it so hard, like Severus, for example, or like Philoxenos or those guys,
Yeah, he's terrible.
like it's just like dude, like holy moly, these guys are just crazy. Like you get to that point.
And it's one thing to also note that for us, the enumeration is found in the mind. So when somebody says, "Oh, the Father says only in the mind," amen, because it's a mental set. I have to look when I think about Christ. I'm conceptualizing Him, and by that I understand there's dual natures. But the distinction or the enumeration has to exist in reality for us, because divinity is not identical to humanity in any sense. But it is by the mind. Like, there's a quote from Pope Saint Agatha of Rome. He says, "If one does not confess that the enumeration is only in the mind, let him be anathema." And even the Fifth Council in session 8, when they were given their canons, I think it's canon 7 or 8. It was they had anathemas. It says the enumeration is found in perception alone. That's what we hold. It's only in perception, but obviously, I don't think it's contingent on a finite mind to say that divinity differs from humanity. So, yeah.
And did you say that was in the Fifth Council? They say that?
Yeah, Fifth Council, session 8, it would be in the canons. Literally, if you just go to the app and command F, perception, you'll find it.
Interesting. All right, thank you guys.
Yeah. God bless. Am I good to go?
Yeah, you're good, bro.
All right.
Thanks.
God bless.
God bless.
We're gonna watch, since we're kind of just hanging out, we're gonna watch this Libiano versus Nick. Apparently that happened. When did that happen? Was that recent? Or did it not happen? Seems like it's not recent. Okay, let me... it's old, but I haven't seen this, so this is too easy for me. Let me bring it up. This actually looks kind of fun. It was on IP's panel. Or is it this one from 8 months ago? Inspiring Philosophy did a panel recently. Is it the Islamic dilemma thing?
Literally.
You want me to go?
Nick posted it. Okay. I got you. Hold on. Oh, there it is. Dang. It's the whole stream,
my
bro.
father only.
When does he talk? I don't want to watch the whole thing. It's 3 hours long.
No, what I'm saying.
New and shown forth in itself everything that pertains to God, such as the Son of God also divine wisdom in the understandings he checks it to the
any way within his
Why
human, it depends. Are you saying that he doesn't know it like in any way within his
Right now,
nature, or
what
are
I
you
just said.
saying-
Wait, Dean. Are you saying,
he
Dean?
doesn't
Are
know
you?
it any way within his human nature, or that?
He lasted like an hour.
I'm gonna speak now.
Okay,
Great.
cool.
Okay.
Chris,
Thank you, man.
All right, that's what we're gonna do, Orthodox.
Word with different forms.
Sorry, we had to have Dean speak because you can't speak.
Is
You
it
can't
the same word or
answer
not?
the question.
Sorry.
Libiano, one more, and
I'm being muted.
Talk. All right, that's it. Dean, please
I mean,
continue. I'll
literally
bring
can't
Libiano
stop.
back
This
in
is
when
crazy.
you're done talking.
I'll
bring.
What's your argument against that?
It's definitely not me.
The gospel of
Yo, this is too much, bro. There's too much happening. I'm just gonna watch Nick versus Libiano, the one that was 8 months ago, bro. That's too much.
Yeah.
Whoa.
Only insofar as the essence.
I said stop. Unqualified.
Yeah, again, only insofar as the essence.
All right, thank you, bro.
In the
This. How you doing,
Yes.
my friend?
I'm good. So you said that Eastern Orthodox don't.
Oh, one second. Relax. You're not running the show here. What model of Trinitarianism do you hold to?
Monarchical.
You're a monarchical Trinitarian?
Yep.
You hold to Bo Branson's view?
I mean, I hold to some things he holds to. It depends. I hold to the Eastern Fathers.
Oh, okay. Okay, good. Do you hold?
Wait, what was that immediately? Like, there's nothing wrong with that. Like, I think it's quite funny how like a lot of Muslims nowadays, like they see that we say I hold to the monarchical Trinity, right? And then they're like, oh, so Bo Branson. I don't hold to all his terminology, bro. I don't hold to all his terminology. He does things in like more of an analytical manner, bro. Like I don't hold to the way that he kind of does that, bro. Like I just hold to the way that the fathers argue for it, man. You know what I mean? There's some things in his arguments that I love and I use to this day. But if you just purely hold to what he says, I you know, it's, I don't know, bro. I'm just not a huge fan, and it's mainly just because, like, again, he's very analytical. I'm not a fan of that, you know, but.
To Gregory of Nyssa?
What's up?
Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Hiya, how are you?
I'm doing good, man. What's going on?
I'm good. I'm Jewish. Do you want to discuss the Trinity with me?
Yakov, bro.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, no, I don't platform Yakov. Sorry. You can say that I'm running again, but I don't platform you. You say blasphemous things and I don't care about it.
Yep. Again, they can be fallible, but for the most part, I hold to the Cappadocian. So.
Oh, okay. Perfect. Let me ask you a quick question, Nick.
No thanks on that one. People are blasphemous. I don't really care to talk
Want
to
to talk
them.
about Actus Purus like you did with Elijah?
Actus Purus.
Yes, you just said that God is.
I thought you wanted to debate me on the Trinity.
Yeah, you just said that
So
God.
you want to debate me on the Trinity?
Yeah, you just said God wasn't pure act. I'm confused.
Do you believe God is pure act?
Yes, of course.
What's pure act?
Pure act means he has no passive potential.
Okay, which means?
Which means that he has no ability to change intrinsically.
Oh, okay. He has no ability to change.
I actually do remember a while ago that there was a couple people that were spurging out over the fact that Nick said that. I do remember that. But I've also had conversations with Nick about that. Like, not passive potency, I'm sorry. Pure act by itself, right? When you just talk about it in its general sense, without denoting a worldview that uses those words, just means that God does not have any passive potential. That's all it means. And even people who say that they reject pure act, and they say that, you're like, okay, so you think God has passive potential? And they'll say, no. And you're just like, okay, so then in what sense is he not pure act? And they'll say like, oh, well, he's not creating from eternity. And I'm like, that's not, okay. I don't know. You guys get what I'm saying? Like, again, like there's a way in which we see pure act if we're talking about it from the pure Aristotelian perspective. Or if it's purely Aristotelian and you say pure act, that's a problem. That is a big problem, because that is basically the prime matter argument, like the way that kind of stuff is entailed. If it's purely Aristotelian, it will be an issue, okay? Because of the fact that Aristotle believed, in a sense, that there was prime matter, that he was always emanating, right? All of these kind of things, right? Obviously, we don't believe that God was always emanating ad extra to himself for eternity, okay? So in that sense, he's not. But in a Christian theological sense, if someone says, do you affirm pure act? Right? Is pure act in relation to creation, but not essence? Yeah, it wouldn't be. I mean, it wouldn't be. St. Maximus talks about that in the 200 chapters, right? And what St. Maximus means by not in essence is basically just saying that, God, well, first off, essences don't act. So that's pretty much like what he's meaning there, right? He's attacking the Aristotelian perspective of basically there not being like a person-nature distinction in Aristotle's understanding of the monad or God. Right? So if there's no distinction between person and nature in like any way, then Aristotle had come to that conclusion that basically the monad is an essence and that it is pure act, things like that. That's what St. Maximus was denying. He was saying you can't say that because God would be pure act insofar as his relation to creation, because of the fact that God eternally, he acts from eternity. He doesn't act temporally, right? He doesn't act in time and space. I don't even think like the hardcore, or, I mean, some neoclassical theist Christian people would say that, but like, it's just not patristic to say that. You know what I mean? Like the fathers don't speak in that manner, if that makes sense. Again, saying that God is pure act in essence, like that's verbatimly what St. Maximus was kind of trying to refute in a way, Mr. August. That's something that he explicitly was saying that we don't say because there's a person-nature distinction.
Change.
Correct. Yep. So can you show me?
God would be pure act insofar as the triadic acts of the persons. Oh, okay. Sorry. I thought you were serious. I was like, bro.
Okay, wait. Is that all Actus Purus is?
React to the Alex Soren original sin video. I don't want to do that.
Yes, Actus Purus is literally that you are pure act, eternal.
Actus Purus.
I'm not going to entertain that
God
controversy.
is one singular act, right?
Yeah, it's to say that all his acts are wrong.
Oh, okay. And God is identical to his act?
Materially, yes.
God is identical to his act.
He said materially. Notice how he didn't even like regard that. Like he said that he's identical to his act materially. Just saying that it's just all of the same thing. But then he just said, oh, okay, so he's identical to his act. Like he doesn't even know what that means.
Materially, yes.
Okay, for example, did God create?
Yes.
Okay, and God is identical to the act of creation?
He's materially identical, meaning that it comes from the same substance.
Okay. Is the act of creation identical to God's essence?
Why did he say that again? Like this is ridiculous. Like that was a response. That was a response to that.
Materially, meaning that it comes from the same substance.
Okay, is it identical or not?
Yeah, materially, yes.
Yo, what does that pick out here?
You don't know what material identity is?
No, I'm asking you, what does that pick out?
It picks out the material, the substance.
So an act has a substance?
Yeah, of course, acts have ontology. Do you not think acts have
An
ontology?
act has a substance other than God?
No. It is materially identical. So it's not other than. I just said they're materially identical.
Okay, so the act of God is distinct, right?
No, I just said they're materially identical.
Okay, it's materially identical, but it's distinct in another sense, right?
Yeah, formally distinct.
Oh, okay, so then you believe in EAD then?
Correct.
Oh, okay, so then you don't believe in pure act.
Yeah.
Dude. Oh man, W reductio, dude. W reductio. Like what?
That's not. So you're just equivocating. That's not the pure act that the Thomists believe in.
Yeah, what's the contradiction between EED and pure act?
Yeah. You're defining pure act in a different way that the Thomists believe it. They say,
No, he said it in the most generic sense possible. He didn't denote any presuppositions from the Thomistic paradigm. He said it in the most basic understanding possible of what pure act means. That's all he said.
the Thomists say that there's absolutely no distinction between God and His act.
Yeah,
now
do you
you're
think
saying
that the Thomist way to define pure act is the only way?
so now you're saying there is a real distinction between.
Yeah, do you think the
God and
Thomist way to define pure act is the only way to define pure act?
No, he said he's actus purus. Actus purus is going to refer to what the Thomists believe.
Aquinas said pure act, bro. He owns that word. He owns that terminology. It belongs to him. What are you talking about, man?
Yeah, monarchical Trinitarians don't use the term actus purus.
Yeah, we do. It's just a Latin.
Do you use actus purus?
Yeah, it's just going to be that actus purus literally just means pure act.
Okay, good. So the term actus purus picks out something very specific. So you're just being ambiguous with your term. So now since we clarified that,
He's not being ambiguous. He said explicitly what it meant. Oh my gosh.
Wait, what's ambiguous about that?
What's ambiguous? You're equivocating on the term.
Actus purus is literally just
right.
He's equivocating on the term? How is Nick the one that's equivocating on the term? Orthodox Muslim, he literally just did that. He literally just did that right now. In that interaction. He did the equivocation because he literally said himself that if you affirm... Look at the cowboy hat hit Luviana with it too. He just equivocated because he basically just stated himself that if you affirm pure act, then you are affirming the Thomistic paradigm. That's equivocation.
Does actus purus have a different meaning depending on one's metaphysical commitment?
If you're using a different
Good. So then you're equivocating. When you say actus purus, this picks out something very specific, right?
Yeah,
actus
I'm picking
purus.
out the fact that it's pure act.
In the tradition, actus purus refers to something. Oh, the camera died. In the tradition, actus purus refers to something very specific, right?
Yeah, that is pure act.
Okay, wait. Let me just put it on the camera. Okay, good. That refers to something very specific.
Yeah, can you show me?
Nick,
I
I haven't finished. Thank you. I haven't finished. Disagree with what?
Yeah, that disagree that this cannot coincide with EED.
Do the Thomists believe that there is a distinction, any kind of distinction between God and
God? Yeah, making a distinction between the Thomists and the Latin.
Okay, good. So then I just told you actus purus picks out something else when it's in a Thomist context. You agree, right?
Yeah, in a
Thomist context.
Right. And actus purus is a term mainly used by Thomists, right?
Okay, wait, if it's mainly used
by Thomists, actus purus is a term mainly used by Thomists, yes?
It depends what you mean by mainly. Eastern Orthodox use this as well.
Oh, Lord. Which church father? Which Greek father used actus purus?
Yeah, I can literally show you.
All right, go get it. No, I want the term actus purus used by a Greek father.
Actus
go get
purus is a Latin term.
Right. So because it is a Latin term,
translation.
Right. Thank you for conceding the point. So because it is a
translation.
Sir, can you let me finish? Thank you. So because it is a Latin term, when it is used, it picks out Latin Trinitarianism, correct?
Oh my,
Nick?
No, just because words are Latin doesn't mean
Okay, watch this.
Concept.
Can you give me a Greek father that said pure act? God is pure act?
Pure act?
You guys want to see something, by the way? So I'm working on this. This is something that I will eventually release. It's an AI translation, so you could use this at your own risk. But I'm doing a translation of this thing called The Epitome of Dogmatic Theology by Antonius Moschopoulos of Cephalonia. He was around in the 1700s. He was actually an Orthodox theologian. He wasn't known very much, right? but he learned under a guy named Vincent Damadies, who was known as like one of the best people of his time. And in this specifically, right? You see this right here? God is not good with accidental goodness, since being the purest and simplest act, he is not receptive to any accident. He is therefore good with essential goodness. For example, goodness, wisdom, knowledge, and its essential attributes.
Yeah.
Yeah, use the term pure act.
Yeah, just meaning that literally he has.
No, not meaning. Use the term pure act.
That's literally going to be verbatim fallacy.
No, but that's what we're referring to. You said, yeah, in our tradition, we use the term pure act.
Okay,
we're talking about the term.
Yes, because I can show you them.
Okay, so then you don't use the term pure act.
What do you think?
Sir, you have the pure act. Monarchical Trinitarian.
Wait. So what?
Yo, Nick, are you here to talk about monarchical Trinitarianism? Nick, you just conceded that pure act, the term, picks out something different than what you believe in. I am not.
What?
Sir,
no, I said.
Oh Lord, sir. Does pure act pick out a Thomist understanding?
No, not necessarily. No.
Not necessarily?
Nope, I can show you.
So pure act, the term, is used by non-Thomists?
Yes, I can show you scholastics.
Oh, okay, so pure act is used by non-Latin Trinitarians?
Yes, because scholastics are not necessarily Latin Trinitarians.
Okay, how do the scholastics use it?
Yes, the scholastics use pure act as a being without passive potency and is therefore unchangeable. So a being that is more perfect.
Yeah. Okay. If that's all,
I'm literally defining exactly.
Yeah. So if that's all that picks out for you, Nick, then we have no issue, no problem. I could grant you that. But you agree that actus purus, this term, when used, has a very, very specific picking out, right?
No, I can show you actus purus.
He disagreed with that like 500 times.
Well, scholastic philosophy.
Okay, dude, this guy just wants to play games. Do you want to talk about monarchical Trinitarianism or not?
Yeah, we're literally talking about it.
Hey, brother, do you want to talk about monarchical? Hey, Nick, you've been telling your viewers that I'm running away from you for the past month. So do you want to address my arguments against your model?
Wait, we're talking about it right now.
Sir, do you want to address my arguments against?
Gonna run from what
Sir, do you want to keep talking about definition?
If there's anybody else in his house, by the way, I can't even imagine what they're hearing. You know what I mean? Like they're just sitting there watching TV in the living room. They say, "Sir, do you want to talk about pure act or not?"
Or do you want to address my arguments against your Trinity?
I'm going to show you that you're wrong about.
So, Nick, I'm gonna ask one more time. Nick, would you like to address? Nick, I'm gonna ask.
Or it's like, because you can hear it on like the other side of a room. It's like, "Sir, do you want to talk about monarchical Trinitarianism or not? Like you're just running from me."
One more time. Nick, would you like to address my arguments against the Trinity, or would you like to keep talking about definitions?
Yeah, if you want to concede the former point, then we can.
So you don't want to?
If you want to concede the.
Because I'm gonna drop you if you don't want to talk, man.
Yeah, we can talk as long as you concede the former point.
No, I'm not conceding anything. This guy is panicking right now. Dude.
Did you or did you not?
Are you?
It's crazy how Libiano destroyed every top Christian. Brother, are you freaking... Did you get a lobotomy when you were a child? Dude. He literally just said if you say pure act, that automatically means Thomism.
Gonna get to actually talking about the Trinity, or are we gonna talk about definitions?
If you want to concede that.
Hey, watch this. Libiano is running away from me. I'm right here. Do you want to talk about the Trinity?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay.
Oh, he's trolling? Okay. Dang. Dude, I always get rage baited every time.
So you wanna address my argument against the Trinity?
Are we not talking about the Trinity?
No, I haven't given my argument yet.
Oh, so you haven't given any arguments yet?
No.
Also, you saying that actus purus is only for Latin?
No, that's not an argument. That's not an argument against the Trinity.
What is it?
It's a mere definition. What are you talking about? We're talking about different worldviews. We're talking about different worldviews. Yo, this is actually embarrassing. Can we please get to the argument? Can we get to the argument?
Listen, if you want to run from that, go ahead.
All right, Nick, do you want to get the argument? You want to get to the argument?
Yeah, if you want to run from that, it's okay. Go ahead.
Okay, perfect. Thank you very much. Do the Father and the Son share the same essential properties?
Yes, insofar as the essence.
Okay, good. I'm not talking about hypostatic properties now. So I know he's gonna cop out. He's gonna say hypostatic. So I'm gonna be very, very clear, Nick.
Fantastic.
I'm not talking about any hypostatic properties when I ask this question.
Fantastic.
Do they share the same divine making properties?
Yep.
Good. Is being unbegotten or ingenerate an essential property?
No, not to the essence, but to the person.
Good. So X could be truly God while being begotten.
Yes.
Okay, good. And an essential property is a necessary property, correct?
Yep.
And a non-essential property is what?
Meaning it's not necessary.
It's not necessary. So the Father...
I see what he's doing right now, and I think Nick probably should have said that, like, it depends on what you mean by non-essential, because, like, if you're talking about it non-essential insofar as it just not being a property of the essence itself, then you would say that doesn't necessarily follow. But if you say that a non-essential property, as in basically a property that is an accident, then that's different. That's not the same thing.
It's not necessary for him to be unbegotten?
No, he doesn't need to be unbegotten so far as the essence.
Good.
Again, you're not talking about hypostatic property.
Good. So the Father, in his divinity, could be begotten.
In his essence?
Mm-hmm.
No, we just said insofar as the essence.
Yeah, insofar as the essence, could the Father be begotten?
No, we just
So
said
it's
that
essential?
insofar as the essence.
Yeah, insofar as the essence, could he be begotten?
No, we just said the essence is essentially has to be unbegotten.
Oh, so being unbegotten is essential. So he just took it back.
Essence, not the person. No,
Okay.
the essence. Not
Okay,
the
good.
person.
Okay, good. So I'm gonna ask you again. The essence is just the set of essential properties that each person has, correct? Good. Very good. Each person has the same set of essential properties, correct, Nick?
Yep, insofar as the essence.
Good. The essence is just a set of essential properties. So you saying insofar as the essence is
No, that's not true.
So now
You can have essential hypostatic properties. That's not true.
okay, that's fine. I'm talking about divine making properties. Good?
Yeah. So if you're insofar as the essence.
Good.
Yes.
Good. Is being ingenerate an essential property or not?
Ingenerate, an essential property of the essence. Yes, that the essence is not generated.
Okay, so X has to be ingenerate in order to have the divine essence.
See, he's making the clarification, right? There's different senses in which you denote a property, okay? Like if you say, right, is God unbegotten? Is Jesus unbegotten? Right? If you say it like that, hold on, let me increase the font. Actually, I can just zoom in, bro. So if you say, is God unbegotten, right? This is the eunomian premise. That's what this is. This is the eunomian premise. If you say, is God unbegotten, right? And then you say, is Jesus unbegotten? That's two different senses of what unbegotten would even mean, right? If you're denoting God as essence by itself, I concede, right? If you say, is Jesus unbegotten insofar as his hypostasis, I deny. Right? So when it's talking about these properties, begotten, unbegotten, ingenerate, spirated, whatever these things are, right? When we're talking about the persons, it doesn't by itself denote just the person or denote just it has to be qualified. The eunomian premise was talked about for thousands of pages in the Cappadocians, literally thousands of pages. They talked about this. Like it's not hard to read. There is a different sense in which something is hypostatically unbegotten versus if something is essentially unbegotten. They're not the same.
No,
Why did it freeze? There we
No,
go.
Okay, good. So properties don't. So yeah. So let's try this again, Nick. So the essence is the set of properties, correct?
Yeah, the essence is actually a substance, though. Has actually
Okay.
has ontology.
Okay. The essence is the set of essential properties, correct?
Yes, that is one substance.
Good. Do all the persons share the set of essential?
Yes, he would be essentially unbegotten. That's fine. If you're talking, if what you mean by essentially is simply just something that is proper to essence, sure. Jesus is unbegotten insofar as his essence. Jesus is begotten insofar as his hypostasis.
Properties.
Yep.
Is being ingenerate an essential property?
The essence, yep.
Okay. That is to say, in order for X to be God, X must be ingenerate?
Insofar as the essence, yeah.
Okay. So Jesus is ingenerate?
Insofar as the essence, yes.
Yeah.
Insofar as
yeah, Habibi.
He's just qualifying.
Essence just means essential property, right? So Jesus.
What?
So Jesus is ingenerate.
Insofar as the essence, yes.
Yeah.
Insofar as
Habibi. Essence just means essential property, right?
Wait, what? Essence just means essential property. That's interesting. Now that's interesting.
Right. So Jesus has the essential. So Jesus has the essential property of being ingenerate.
Yeah, only insofar as the essence.
So Jesus has the essential property of being ingenerate.
Insofar as the.
Is essence not a quiddity of a thing? No, I don't think so. A quiddity of a thing, like technically speaking, the quiddities would be of the essence. I think the essence by itself denotes a quiddity. Just by it on its own.
The essence, not insofar.
Sir, you saying insofar as the essence is nonsense, okay? Because the essence. Yeah, I'm not talking about hypostatic. Remember, guys, he was gonna start saying hypostatic. I'm not talking about hypostatic.
There's no quiddity in God, Abdul. You might want to read Gennadios.
Push the hypostatic properties.
He has a different understanding of what quiddity means, to be fair, but yeah.
Aside. The person has essential properties that make him God and hypostatic properties that make him individuated. Yes?
His work against Aquinas, specifically Excursus 93. The one where he refutes de ente et essentia, he uses actually ends of equidity when he's actually denoting energies. That they would be quiddities of the essence, technically, in a sense.
Yep.
Good. So I'm not talking about the individuating properties of Christ. I'm talking about the essential divine making properties of Christ. Does Christ...
The essential divine making properties of Christ. See, there's two senses to that too, right? There's a difference between what makes him the Son, or what makes him Jesus, versus what makes him God. It's not exactly the same thing. What makes him God would be the essential properties denoted, like, for example, love, goodness, all these types of things that are proper to the essence. If we're talking about the hypostasis, if we're talking about hypostatic properties, that's what actually denotes the person, denotes the Son is who the Son is, right?
Does Christ have the divine making property of being ingenerate?
No, within the essence, yes, insofar as the essence.
So we could say Christ is unbegotten?
Yeah, only if you're referring to his essence.
No, I'm talking about the subject Christ.
No, now if you're talking about the subject, you're talking about the person.
Habibi, persons possess essential divine making properties and hypostatic properties, but the properties are predicated to the person. Yes.
Yeah. Do you think all properties of person and all?
Sir, can you answer the question? Can you answer the question?
Yeah, I just answered it. Do you think?
Okay. So
So kind of like this, right? If we were to say that there is a property, right? And granted, there's not really many, this analogy doesn't work too well, only because of the fact that obviously we're created beings. But in a sense, like an analogy that kind of works for this a little bit is when we're talking about the person, there are properties that are necessary for Bryce to be Bryce. There are properties that are necessary in order for a person to be what a person is, just in any sense. Now granted, we are composed of accidents, of course. So that's different. right? There's things that we can lose, whatever. I could say that like basically my mode of willing, right, would be something that is necessary for me to be who I am. The mode of willing that I possess is something that is proper to me as a hypostasis and is necessary in order for Bryce to be who Bryce is.
Divine, what?
If you concede him being begotten isn't essential, then you're conceding to a contradiction. No, because in order for something to be a contradiction, it must be a P and not P in the same sense. If he's unbegotten according to his essence, right, and then he's not unbegotten according to his hypostasis, that's two different senses in which he could possess something. So that by definition does not fall into a contradiction.
What?
Do you think that those properties are going to be identical within the subject?
Those properties are identical with what?
Yes, the essential properties of the essence versus the essential properties of the hypostasis.
Identical to what?
Are they going to be identical to one another insofar as their essentiality?
No, the properties are not identical to one another.
The proskuneo discussion was cooked, but Nick did well here. What are you talking about? What discussion is the one with proskuneo?
Okay, so if they're not identical to one another, we have to make a clear distinction between the essentiality of the hypostasis and of the essence.
Yeah, that's why I told you I'm not talking about hypostatic properties. I'm talking about.
So when you switch and say the subject, then you're switching the essentiality.
You didn't see their recent discussion? I saw the so like I looked for their discussion. I can't find Godson. I tell you what, because I was looking for it and I wanted to watch it, but it's 3 hours long. If you can tell me where to start on that video, I will pull it up right now. But I'm not fishing through a 3-hour video to try to find it. I did want to watch it, but I legitimately like don't want to fish through a 3-hour video to watch that discussion. I do want to see the discussion, but I'll probably watch it in my own time unless you can actually show me the specific clip. It's in the very beginning. Okay, fine. I'm gonna go use the bathroom real quick, and when I get back from the bathroom, I will try to pull that up. Okay? It's in the beginning, like 40 to 50 minutes. Okay, sounds good. Hold on. So where is it at? Bet that Bryce's house, he doesn't wash his hands. Shut up, bro. Okay, dude. Let's. Oh my gosh.
The Gospel of John, the Gospel of Matthew, and the Gospel of Mark. Now, you say you believe in a general.
Can I respond to
not talk eventually?
Willing, but I mean, we will all. So I'm going to try very hard not to gang up, but I'm not. That doesn't mean I'm just going to like moderate. So that's where we're at. So I'll bring Orthodox Muslim in now. He's more than welcome to join us. Again, he was calling us all out over the past 24 hours. More than willing to have a conversation with him. So Libiano, you're more than welcome to join.
But I can't do anything in my home, dude. People send me freaking donations on YouTube to change shit in my house. They're just like, oh, like the other day I had a donation from Octavian because of the fact that I don't have a Stanley Cup. He sent me like $20 and it was like for the Stanley Cup. And I'm like, dude.
How you doing? Oh, Dean just
Good.
we had him in here too.
Good. Mikey Jones. What's going on, man?
How you doing?
I see that you guys.
You still don't got a Stanley. I ain't got paid by YouTube yet. Do you know how that works? I get paid on the 21st from YouTube. All right. If I'm going to use my YouTube money to get the stuff that they told me to get, I will.
I see that you guys need some backup today. What's going on, man?
What are you talking about? You were calling all of us out, so we decided to.
Oh, Mike.
Listen, this is how this is going to work. I'm going to talk, and then you're going to talk. You're not going to talk over me. All right.
You said 41-minute mark.
For us to read this as Jesus being omnipresent in any sense.
He does portray them as being divine.
All right, let's see it. Let's see it then.
Was he worshipped in Matthew?
Nope. He was given proskuneo.
And proskuneo, we can show you that that's given to God as well. Let's go.
No, it's also given to God, but it's also given to not God. So you have to prove that it's worship due to God.
Yes, because when they bow down and kneel, has anyone ever bow down and kneel, give proskuneo to anyone else?
Yes.
Okay,
yes.
great. Show me where they
King
kneel. and did that,
Nebuchadnezzar,
please.
I mean, yes. I mean, I'm excited to see how Nick kind of like gets in on this, but yes. Proskuneo is given to other things.
Daniel chapter 2, verse 46. Baked.
Okay, is that Greek?
Why would it be Greek? It's Daniel.
Is proskuneo Greek? Are you
Daniel's in Aramaic.
Daniel's not
Why would
in
it
Greek.
be?
Are you
Why would it
He
be
went from
Greek?
Greek.
It's
and he's
Daniel.
proskuneo Greek?
Why would it be Greek? It's
That's my
Daniel.
point. Is
the
proskuneo?
I don't know about that one. It's kind of a language thing, you know what I'm saying? Proskuneo does translate to something in Hebrew.
Is proskuneo Greek or
I'm
not?
telling you,
Proskuneo is Greek.
The LXX translates as proskuneo, dummy.
Okay, let's
Check
go
it.
to it. Daniel,
Go.
what?
Go. Daniel
Daniel-
chapter 2, at the end of the chapter, where King
What
Nebuchadnezzar
What
bows and prostrates
What
before
verse?
Daniel. I just told you at the end of
You
the
already
chapter.
said it, dude.
That's at the end. No, he said at the end of the chapter. What verse?
In the 40s, at the end of the chapter.
In the 40s. Okay. Do you know which
Yes.
verse specifically? That
No,
I,
it's
can,
I know it's in the 40s. I haven't read it in a
Oh,
while.
dear God. Okay, we don't even know what verse. We're just making stuff
Daniel
up.
246.
Watch him embarrass himself now.
Daniel
He says,
246. Is that it?
Has anybody prostrated before
246?
anyone? Yup.
I didn't say anyone prostrate. I said prostrate specifically. proskuneo.
Yeah, it's proskuneo. Check the
Is
Greek.
it 246? Is that what you're talking about?
Man, I'm hoping that this is recovered, but I'm not gonna lie to you. Like at the moment, like I mean, I hate to say this shit, but Libiano's not wrong. You know, like even though that he's spurging, like he is right at the moment. You know what I mean? Like I'm trying to be objective about it, so I don't.
Yes, check the Greek. Check the LXX.
Okay, 246. That's exactly what he said. It's 246.
Yep.
All right.
Check the
Any
Greek, buddy.
specific Greek you'd like me to use? Any specific website?
Brother, just pull up the LXX.
Okay. I just don't want any excuses. Fantastic.
We'll see who gives the excuses.
All right. Daniel 246. Here we go. All right. Can I share my screen here?
Yeah, I'll put it up for you.
All right. Let me see. Here we go.
This is embarrassing. You guys are all getting baked right now.
Bro, the only person who gets baked.
Bro, how are you four Christians getting baked by one Muslim?
Why do you gotta keep saying it if it's true? Everyone would just see it. You gotta keep like trying to tell the audience.
It
what's going on. It's
just
ridiculous.
baffles me. That's it, bro. It just baffles me. Man.
Okay, sure.
No, not really.
Whatever you gotta say to give yourself some security there.
Yeah. Well,
And you've
I have the Greek in front of
It's
me.
shared. Yeah,
so-
I shared it on my screen.
Yeah.
Okay.
Dean, you got the Greek as well?
There you go.
Yeah.
You said Daniel 246, right?
Yeah.
All right.
If
Which
that's
word?
the if that's the verse where
Proskuneo
King
here.
Nebuchadnezzar, if that's the verse where King Nebuchadnezzar prostrates before Daniel, then that's it.
Okay. Which part says proskuneo?
I don't read Greek.
It's right there. It's so if you
Wow.
just
Make
look
it
at
make it
the-
bigger.
Yeah, make it bigger.
Yeah, I
make it
can't see
bigger.
this.
Bigger.
I do like that point, Chalcedon, bro, where he says even if it is proskuneo, how does that help the Muslim's position? Because would he prostrate before him? Yes. That is a fair point, right? Because I don't think that they would do that. Right? They wouldn't prostrate before Jesus, technically in their own worldview.
Bigger.
I don't know how to make it bigger here. Okay, I don't know if you can make it big.
So I do like that clarification there, Chalcedon. That does make sense.
Watch this guy's face
It's
go
before
red.
the word. Yeah, it's before the word Kai. Just zoom in, dude.
Watch this guy's face go
right
red
here?
right now.
Right there. This one here.
It's right before Kai.
Are you talking about this one right here?
Yeah.
I can't see.
Is that proskuneo?
Is this what you're speaking about?
Yep. That's proskuneo. Watch his face go red now.
I'm sure it's gonna.
At Mr. Fisto 7 super chatted $13.29. Buy a Stanley with a 600% APY payday loan and use this chat to pay the interest. Nerd face emoji.
Thank you for the $20, man. I appreciate that, but I'm definitely not gonna be getting a payday loan to buy a Stanley Cup.
Gonna go red. Okay, where would you like me to go? I'm here for it.
It's proskuneo. Is that
It's
not
right there,
proskuneo?
dude. It's in front of your face. I can
It's
literally,
literally right in front of your face.
Oh, good
I can
lord.
literally
I'm
recognize
here
it.
on it right now. I'm here
I
on
can
it right
literally
now.
recognize the
Do you want,
Greek
do you
right
want
there.
me to show you? Do you want me to show you now in the
Does it
lexicon?
say does it say
you want me-
proskuneo?
do you
Nick,
want me
does
to
it say,
show-
Nick, does
I'll
it say
show you
proskuneo?
two
Okay,
different words.
again,
Yeah.
go ahead, Nick. Go ahead, Nick. So you
Thank
can
you.
actually
This
make
is
your
so
point.
embarrassing.
Okay,
Go ahead,
listen,
Nick.
I'm going to show you that in Matthew 18:20 that it's two
No,
different
does it
words.
say?
Go ahead,
I'm
Nick.
going to show you it's two
I'm
different
being
words.
muted. I'm being
Yeah,
muted.
you
by
are
the way.
because you keep
I'm
interrupting
being
him because you
muted.
don't want him to actually show his
Does
point.
it say proskuneo or not? Yes or no?
Go ahead,
I'm
Nick.
going to show you it's two different words.
Does
How
it
many
say
times do I
proskuneo?
have?
Oh my god.
I'm going.
This is
Oh my gosh!
embarrassing.
Can you please listen?
Nick,
I'm
can
going
you
to
answer
show
the
you
question?
it's
Listen, he's going to show
different
you.
words.
Stop interrupting him. Again,
Dear
you were complaining
Lord.
about being interrupted, and here you are interrupting him when he's
This
trying
is-
to make
this
a
is
point.
crazy. This
Go
is
ahead,
crazy.
Nick.
You guys are
Okay.
muting me, by.
Yeah, of course we're
Thank you.
Yes, I warned you, and I
Wow.
told you this was going to
Wow,
happen.
bro.
So
Wow,
stop
that's
doing
crazy.
it.
Yes, I'll show you.
Go ahead, Nick.
Thank you. I'll show you. Okay.
Mhm.
So if we go to proskuneo here, and I'll go to the Greek here, and I'll show you. I'll share this screen as well. I'll share the other screen here.
Go ahead.
This is good damage control, man.
Sure, it's good damage control. Sure.
Fearless
here we go.
truth. Your cheeks are red, by the way.
There you
Like
go.
King Sylv.
Not red at all, but okay. Sure.
King
Let's really
Sylv's
are.
red face, red cheeks.
Okay, proskuneo
Red
here.
cheeks, bro.
Right?
Pause.
This is
Pause.
proskuneo, correct?
Pause.
Both of them are proskuneo.
Okay, is 4352 going to be the same in the lexicon?
Yeah, they're
as the
both proskuneo. Yep.
Okay, now let's go to this one.
Are they
This is-
both proskuneo,
You
Nick?
guys see my other screen now?
Are they both proskuneo, Nick?
I'm going to show you that they're
Can you
literally
just
different.
answer this
no,
question?
I'm
Are
saying
they
they're
both
different
proskuneo?
inferences.
Did you say it's not proskuneo?
Oh
or
my
not?
gosh. Yeah, I said it's different inferences. Yes.
Okay, is it proskuneo though?
No, it's a different inference.
Is it proskuneo? Yes
No,
or
it's a
no?
What the hell does it
different
even mean? Different
inference.
inference. What does it
I
mean?
Is it proskuneo? Yes or no?
No, it's a different inference.
Is the
Explain what
word
you mean, Nick.
proskuneo?
Just let him show you on the
Okay,
screen.
do you know?
Why is he not answering the question,
I'm
bro?
showing you. Do you know what a parsing tag is?
I want to know if it's proskuneo. That's what I want to
Yeah,
know.
You
I'm
know what a
showing
parsing
Do you know,
tag
do
is
you
is
know
what
what a
he asked you.
parsing
Yo,
tag is?
this is
Do you know what a parsing
amazing
tag
Can you
is?
please
mechanic
answer the
damage
question?
control.
I'm
You
gonna
know what a
show
Is
parsing
it
tag is?
proskuneo? Yes or no?
Dude, I'm trying to
Oh
show you
my
that.
God, that's
This is basic.
crazy, bro.
Basic. I'm showing
Is
you.
it proskuneo, Nick? Yes or
Nick, just
Listen to
show
the
him.
question.
Nick,
In
just
the
show
Greek,
him.
two.
Nick, just show him.
Bro, if dude, I would absolutely hate being on this panel. Like this shit would make my blood pressure go through the roof, man. Like my blood pressure would be just I would need to go to the hospital after this of how frustrated that this would make me. Like this is actually like insufferable to watch.
Oh, that's crazy. I'm being
Very simple.
muted.
Okay.
Yeah,
It's
Nick,
very,
just show
very
him.
simple because you won't
I'm
listen.
being muted. No
This
wonder.
is very clear. Actually means itself. So this is what I'm asking you. Do they have the same parsing tag?
Go ahead, Louis.
I want to know if they're both proskuneo, Nick. Can you answer the question?
This is insane.
No, you
Already
didn't answer his
answered.
question.
Nick,
So he's not
Nick,
gonna answer.
Nick went there
You're not
because
gonna
he
answer.
said it's not proskuneo. Now he found out it is proskuneo,
Oh
and
my
he's
God.
doing. And
I
he's
already
doing,
said
and
this
he's
before.
Doing, and he's doing the Mexican cha-cha. So can you please answer?
So instead of
is it
going ad
proskuneo?
homs, can you please
Is it-
answer the question?
I want to know if it's proskuneo, Nick. You're not
I'm
gonna get
so-
away. You're not gonna get
You're
away.
not going to
with
get
this,
away
Nick.
from answering what a parsing
Can
tag
you
is.
please tell me, is it proskuneo or
It's
not?
not the same proskuneo that's in Matthew. No.
It's like he doesn't like I don't know anything about parsing tags either. I'll admit that right now. But I feel like the reason why Libiano is doing what he's doing right now is solely because of the fact that he thinks in some way, shape, or form that if he shows the difference in parsing tags, that it's going to refute him, and so he was not going to let Nick try to get it out. Right? Like I think that's why he's reacting like that. But at the same time, though, Libiano's not incorrect in terms of him saying that they both say proskuneo, even if there is different parsing tags.
No, because
But-
they have different parsing
It
tags.
is proskuneo.
It's a different word. It's a different parsing tag.
That's not a different word. It's just the same word conjugated, dude. Come
Something
on.
has a different parsing tag.
It's the same thing
word or
conjugated.
not?
Yo, is Dean Response Australian, bro? I heard that. Come on, dude. You know what I'm saying?
was a different parsing tag.
Nick,
gives
is it
it
the same word or
It's the
not?
same word conjugated.
So nobody's gonna answer my question.
Oh my god! I just answered it 3 times.
You guys are.
All I needed, dude. That's the easiest way to know if someone's Australian. Say the word dude. Jude. You're like, that dude's Australian immediately.
Literally, you guys are
It's the same word conjugated
Nick,
in
Nick,
Daniel.
I'm not gonna.
Yeah, Brandon, you're not wrong. But I'm still
Now.
trying
Look at them
Nick,
interrupting me now.
I'm not gonna lie.
Go ahead, Nick.
Nick, I'm gonna answer directly. Nick,
He's
I'm gonna
muted
answer
me.
directly, but you have to.
Go ahead.
Yeah,
Go
I
ahead,
got- I
Dean.
got-
Dean,
muted
go,
me.
Dean,
Nick,
go ahead. You can go.
I got
Let me
you,
try
I
to
got you.
mute Dean.
Hilarious.
Dean,
I
go
got
ahead.
you,
I'll
Nick.
mute
Nick, I got
Orthodox
you.
Muslim for
He
you.
ran
Go
from
ahead.
his
I'm
God,
gonna
and
answer
now
it.
he's running from this.
Nick,
Go ahead,
I'm
Dean.
gonna
God was
answer it
logically-
directly. Nick,
Go ahead,
I'm
Dean.
gonna answer it
Go ahead.
directly, but you're gonna answer Libiano afterwards,
Sure.
correct? Okay,
Sure.
beautiful. So that word in Daniel, it's the same word but just conjugated, meaning it's saying to worship. This is saying they prostrate or the worship, whatever you want to translate it to. The point is that one of them says they bowed or he bowed, that is, and it's like, I don't know how to pronounce it, but it's proskuneson. The other one is proskuneo. One is saying they prostrated. This one is saying they prostrate. That's what it's saying in the gospel, that is, right?
Does a parsing tag change
it's
the
the
meaning
same.
of a
Now
word?
it's the same.
He's
It's
muted.
the same word.
I do not.
Okay,
He keeps
it's the
muted.
same word.
Because Dean is speaking, dear Lord.
It's the same word with different forms.
Sorry, we had to have Dean speak because you can't speak.
He's
Is it
muted me,
the
guys.
same word or
Answer
not?
the question.
Libiano, one
same
more.
word
and
or
I'm
different
just
word?
going to
being
let Dean
muted.
talk. All right, that's it. Dean, please
mean,
continue. I'll bring
literally can't
Libiano
stop.
back
This
in
is
when
crazy.
you're done talking.
I'll
bring
dude, you
Libiano
weren't
back
answering his
in.
question. That's the thing. I answered your question. Are you gonna answer his now?
Yeah, I'm glad that you actually answered the question. I'd like for him to answer it. Because I think it's embarrassing that he
you're
can't
being
answer the question
disingenuous
and
now.
needs
You're
you
being
to.
disingenuous because I allowed Libiano asked you a question and you were asking him one, and then I answered your question on the condition you answer him.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
you said yes.
Yeah, and I'll answer the question just like I answered it again.
Okay.
Proskuneo is not going to be the same thing as proskunei, which is when it's talking about a different parsing tag.
One of them is talking about the do.
Wait, do you deny that? Do you deny that parskunei is different than parskuneo in parsing tag?
It's the same. It's the same meaning of the same word in different conjugate.
Do you agree that there's
conjugative form? One second, Nick.
Man, I don't like watching this, bro. This is tough. I messaged you, honey, on Discord.
You asked me a question. One is in the conjugative form, which is in Daniel, which means they prostrated down. Proskuneo means
is there
they prostrate.
Do you
they
agree there's a
prostrate
difference
to.
between proskuneo and proskunei?
One is just in the conjugative form.
Thank you.
which is
You
in
agree
Daniel.
that there's a difference. My point in showing that is that there's a difference in the actual worship itself.
What? Okay, watch this. One of them has it in the conjugative form. The other one doesn't have it. What's the justification that because it's in the conjugative form, therefore proskuneo or proskuneson in that instance, that these two words have such a distinction?
Fantastic.
Such as one is worshiping God and the other one isn't worshiping God. What's the
Fantastic.
justification for that?
Because proskunei you would never find in the Old Testament in this conjugation.
Oh.
Oh. Yeah, this is a toughie, brother.
Given to Yahweh. You'll never find it. I challenge you to find me one time.
Okay, so just because it was never used for God, does that mean that you can't use it for God at all?
No, we can use the inference.
What's the justification for that?
Yeah, we
No,
can
what's the
use the
justification for that?
inference from probability.
It's a bad inference. It's a bad inference.
It's not a what? I literally said we can use an inference of the fact that this one is never used for God in the Old Testament, that we can assume that proskuneo itself is going to be used.
No. Oh. It's like making my stomach hurt. Oh shit, dude. Fix the argument that I mean, this is all they argued about on this topic, brother. Like, I don't, like, there's
For
nothing for me to fix.
Proskunei is never used for.
Like, if this had to get into something else, like, I would get it. I'd be able to maybe, I don't know, address something. But, like, I can't. That's why it gives me a stomach ache. I can't save this, bro. Like, I can't.
For God.
It's a bad inference, one, because
Why is
can
that
it
bad
just so
inference?
happen? Can it just so happen to be that it's just never used for God in the Old Testament?
No, I'm saying I don't think that it can
Can
be
it just
used
so
that
happen
way.
to be that it's just not used for God in the Old Testament? Yes or no?
No, because I think it would have been
Chris, you're
used
not
for God if
injecting
it. No, I think it.
Oh, is there anything better in this video? I can't watch this shit anymore. I can't, bro. Well, if you like Dean, I mean, do they actually ever debate about like theology? Like actual theology? Peep Sola versus Nick on his TikTok if you got time. Is that what, Sola Tawheed? Or is it specifically? Yeah, hold on. One sec.
Parish. I'm on the border of
There we go. Okay. What video is it? Is it like one of his newest ones?
God has
Ontologies.
multiple.
The second one.
The Bibles was written by 24 scientists.
Scientists. That was the one I got. The recent second. It's on Nick's. Oh, it's on Sola's. Sola Tawheed. Oh, here we go.
Watch this biblically illiterate Christian show his
ignorance.
ignorance for 9 minutes.
The reason why I'm not Christian is
The painted over fuse walls and the painted over fuse box and the bare walls are based. Bro, look, I haven't decorated my room yet. All right.
you believe that like Jesus taught that he was God and the Holy Spirit was God alongside the Father, right?
Yes.
So you do think that like Jesus implicitly taught like that God is triune?
Yeah.
Yeah, but then the prophets of old did not teach that God was triune, so then
I disagree.
there's a problem. Oh, so they do?
Yes. I think
Are
they
you
at
able
least
to show
teaches
me?
multiple persons. Yeah, sure. I mean, we can start off with the easiest one in the first chapter, Genesis 1:26. Why do you think Moses says, "Let us create man in our image"?
Yeah, is it a problem if a singular entity or a person refers to themselves in the plural?
In the Hebrew language, yes.
Okay, so then why does Daniel or Laban refer to themselves in the plural?
Sure. What verse are you referring to? We can go to them.
Yeah, Genesis 29, 27 to 28.
All right. Genesis 29. This gonna be Daniel.
No. This is Laban, but Daniel is in Daniel 2:36, I believe.
Okay, sure. If you want to do that one
It's
first,
everywhere.
that's
It's
fine.
everywhere. Just so you know, it's everywhere. It's in Genesis 24:9 as well. So
Yeah.
It's not a problem because if God is speaking of himself in the singular, if he is one singular act in terms of all three persons, for the act of speaking to a prophet, that is something that would be three entities per se. Obviously not literally as in gods or something like that. Speaking in the singular. That wouldn't...
Yeah. So in verse, I'll start off verse 26. And Laban said, "It must not be done so in our country to give the younger before the firstborn." So he's talking about his country. Fulfill her week, and we will give you this one also for the service which you will serve for me as another 7 years. So the week is going to be the country, dude.
No, it's not, because look at the next verse.
And Jacob did so, fulfilled her week, and he gave him his daughter Rachel.
and Laban gave him his daughter. So then we see in verse 27.
Yeah, on behalf of the
Laban
country, right?
said, no, Laban said, we will give you the younger one. But in verse 28, it's Laban who gives the younger one.
Yes, because it's on
right?
behalf of the country.
No, listen. He's saying that this is not our custom to do so. Okay, that's all he's saying. This is not what we normally do, right? This is not
Yeah,
what
so
our
on
people
behalf of
normally
the
do.
country, he's
but
changing
then
it.
27 is distinct from 26 when it's talking about we will give.
So on behalf of the country, he's changing it.
Do you
so
not
on,
get- do you not understand what I'm
so
saying?
on behalf of who in Genesis 1:26 is this occurring?
No, listen. Do you get what I'm saying? I'm saying verse 26. He's saying yes, this is not our custom. This is not what we do. But he's not saying our people will give you Rachel. He's just saying this is not what we do. That's why I gave you the older one. But then in verse 27, he's saying we will give you. But the next verse it says Laban gave his daughter Rachel. That's what it's saying.
Bro,
it's just saying that
dude,
this is not what
my
our people
point
do.
is
There's
when
no
he's
problem.
saying we, he's referring to the fact that he's doing it on the behalf of the
No,
country.
he's not. Jacob is speaking only to Laban. He's not speaking to Laban and X, Y, and Z. He's not in front of.
Bro, the
like,
point is it's
Laban
on
and all
behalf of the
his
country,
people.
dude.
No, it's
Okay,
not.
why is he doing this? Why is he giving his daughter?
He's saying this is not okay. So just so you know, the context is that Jacob, he's obviously, if you read Genesis, he's upset that he got the oldest one rather than Rachel, right? But this is customary. The oldest one, this is what we give. This is customary. Okay, this is what we do. We don't give the younger one first. But what you call it, finish his daughter's bridal week. I think that's what it says. Then we will give you. Okay, he's not speaking about him and his people will give you. No, it's only speaking about him. That's why it doesn't say. So Jacob did so. He finished his week with Leah. Then they gave Rachel onto. No, it says Laban. Okay, Laban refers to
I
himself in the
agree. It's
plural.
Laban on behalf of the country because he's differing from what the country normally does.
But who's okay? So Laban says we, but it's not
Is this like the entire debate?
him and his people who give Rachel. It's just him who gives Rachel, correct?
Well, no, it's not going to be just him either, right? Because you think his wife would have had no say in this?
Vine booms, man. The the vine booms. The boom, boom.
Brother, where's the implication of that?
No,
It
I'm
doesn't
asking
say
in
that.
ancient. No, just
I didn't know people still did that.
ancient historical.
3 big booms. I'm sorry that your son died. I'll give you 5 big booms for that. Boom, 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 boom. Oh shit, dude.
What the wife have had to say as to where the daughter
No,
goes?
there's no evidence for that right now in this verse.
I'm not asking in the verse. I'm asking in history.
But there's no reason for me to see like when he said,
Bryce, you're 30. I can still quote that shit, man. Come on, like I watched it back when it first came out. All right, I'm hip. I'm with the times. I'm not 30. I'm 25. I'm almost 26 though. January 12th.
Because we're looking at
Be my
history in
birthday.
general. Historically, would the wife have had to say as to where the daughter goes?
I'm
So
looking at
let's
it at
say
the
let's say
verse.
she
I'm looking
does.
at it the
Okay, let's say she
okay,
does.
but why am I granting you that?
Well, because I'm not saying, let's hypothetically, right? And then I can actually show you the history of it. Hypothetically, let's say the wife had a say, and he says, we will give you this one. Now, who's the we going to be referring to, right? A, it's on behalf of the country. B, it's on behalf of...
I don't know the argument because like there's so many vine booms. There's so many vine booms. I don't know what's happening.
I can say, yeah, sure. I can say, yeah, sure. But then there's no implication of that in the text.
Is January top 1 birth months? Of course it is. Being born in 2000 is also the top year to be born as well. I don't have to count my age, bro. You just look at the year.
If it's
It
if there's
doesn't say-
so
because
that's
listen, sir,
you're
listen,
going
Nick,
so you're
Nick,
throwing
the
out all of
next
history
verse-
as the issue.
No, Nick, the next verse, it's just Laban. It doesn't say Laban and his wife, or it doesn't say they. It just says Laban.
Because we take in the historical
just saying,
account.
okay,
When we
listen,
read
brother.
the text, we don't throw out history.
Yeah, dude, I'm not even a 90s kid, so you guys like getting on me like that's crazy.
Lord have mercy, brother. Laban refers to himself as a we, and he gives Rachel onto Jacob. What's the problem?
And
There's
is
no
Laban the
argument on
only
that.
one that gives her over? Does the wife also give him over? Historically.
Okay, can you show me that?
I'm asking you, historically. Does he? Or are you just...
That's a valid thing to say though, is that like the overall context to it like makes it kind of not makes it not as bad, I guess, for that argument.
What you're saying, no, that the wife has no say?
The man has to say. Yes, the man has to say.
No, wait, I just want to make sure you're claiming the wife has no
My atheist friend thought you were like 40, bro.
say historically and to give the daughter over.
Yeah, in this text, the
No,
woman
not
has
just in the
say.
text,
There's no
historically.
But okay, so
I want to make that
arguing
clear
for
before I
the
show you this.
text. Okay, you can show me anything, but can you also concede that it's nowhere in the text?
As soon as he gives the source, I bet he booms.
Yeah, I'm not sola scriptura. That's not a problem. Dude.
Okay, but do you have any commentaries that say when Laban it was him and his
No,
wife?
we can take historical context, dude.
Okay, historical context all the way in Genesis, dude.
Historical context and how the ancient Near Eastern
Yeah, Nick's doing fine now. It's fine. It's just the beginning at first. I was like, what?
world operated. Yes.
No,
He's doing fine now.
Bro, before Moses, like way
Oh, dear
before
God.
Moses.
If we can do it, it would have been how oral
Right.
tradition taught it.
Holy crap, bro.
Dear
All
God,
the
it would have
way-
been how
all the way-
oral
all the way
tradition
in
taught it.
Genesis. All the way in
Do you,
Genesis.
do you, do you think the oral tradition changed from Genesis?
It is difficult to try to make an argument for historical context in Genesis, though. That is difficult, right? To try to like justify that. because obviously Genesis, I mean, like the time in which Genesis was written is so long ago that it's very, very difficult to understand the totality of like what the context was in that time. Now, granted, the problem that Sola has, though, is that he's treating the book of Genesis like it was written during the time of Adam, which is not how Genesis works. Obviously, the story of the book of Genesis in of itself, right? The story of the book of Genesis was written from the perspective of that time period, from somebody who saw it. But, yeah. You said read Ephesus 1 with no citation or where? What are you talking about? I don't even know who you are. I didn't tell you to just read Ephesus 1. I mean, it probably was like a small conversation that we had, maybe.
Do you think oral tradition changed from Genesis?
I mean, Moses saw it in Revelation. Yeah.
So let's say Malachi.
Oh,
Thought it was written by Moses. I said it was written by Moses. But that means that the historical context, technically speaking, like by itself would be from the perspective of Moses. That's what I'm trying to say. Oh, I'm talking about Jason. I thought you said that to me. I was just like, I don't know you, bro. I'm sorry.
Oh, they
I was like, if I told you to just read Ephesus 1, I apologize, but I guess that wasn't me.
Yeah, I do think that Moses, he brought forth the laws. He brought forth.
Dude, I very clearly said oral tradition. Did Moses bring forth oral tradition? Or did he bring forth the law? When did Moses bring oral tradition?
I would say like.
Whoa, I don't know what that argument is. When did Moses bring oral tradition? I don't know about that one. Because he definitely did. Right? That was kind of like one of the points as to why that people listened to him. Yeah. Boom. There's a boom on that one.
His teachings, right? The oral Torah.
He's doing pretty good overall, but that was a boom on Nick's end.
When did he show me where he brought oral tradition? Show me that.
I think this goes. Listen, Nick, we're going everywhere but the substance.
No, dude, I want you to show me. I hate when people try to run. I hate when people say stuff and try to run.
You're running.
I don't personally let people run. So where did Moses give oral tradition?
Okay, Nick, we'll get there.
No, we're not going to get there. I want you to do it now.
Yeah, it would have to be like the way that they do the priesthood. I mean, like if you concede, right, in any case, and this just goes for Christians or Muslims, that there was a priesthood that existed in the time of Abraham, Moses had to carry that on, right? It doesn't explicitly prior to Moses, there was no written account of that priesthood. There was no written account specifically of the way that they performed liturgy and all these types of things. So that, technically speaking, would be the oral tradition that Moses is bringing.
So tangential. Why?
No.
Would be continuing from Abraham's patriarchate.
Oh, it's not, because we're talking, dude, because this hinges on the historical context.
Oh,
so please show me.
Singular entities.
Octavian 33 with the 5 gifted memberships. Brother, you're always giving me so many memberships. I appreciate that so much. But by the time that freaking February hits, every single person who watches my streams is going to be a member, bro. It's cool. But now that you guys all got memberships, you can go watch the lectures, bro. It's legit.
Bro, I want you to show me where Moses gave oral tradition.
If you're uncomfortable,
this is crazy, bro.
If you're uncomfortable,
just tell me, where did Moses give oral tradition, dude? You brought up Moses when I asked for oral tradition.
Where does Moses?
Wouldn't that be a written tradition? Not exactly, TR, because a lot of the ways that that they practiced, right? A lot of the ways that they specifically practiced in the liturgy isn't something that's explicitly written down. That's more like something that was orally handed down. It's not really the
Moses
same.
give oral tradition. You don't believe that there's any oral traditions during the time of Moses?
That Moses
that's
gave,
preserved by the rabbis?
There's no evidence that. No, there's no evidence Moses
Okay,
gave
if you don't believe that,
rabbis.
okay, nice.
Do you have any evidence of that?
That's great. That is okay. That's what you believe. Okay.
Great. Do you have any evidence of that?
Class, if you have no issue,
I'm asking if you have any evidence, dear God.
I don't care to. Okay, let's
bro, please defend your beliefs.
Nick, no, you're not defending your beliefs. If you don't believe it, that's fine.
Dude, okay, great. I know it's fine if I don't. Do you believe it?
I don't believe it. I'm gonna say this.
In Genesis 24:9, is it used in plural or singular?
Yes, it's used in the plural. It's masters in the plural. Is that a problem?
I'm on it right now. Where do you see it? Where do you see this being plural in Genesis 24:9? Where?
The Hebrew word is plural.
In Genesis 24:9.
It's translated singular. I
Brother,
that.
in Genesis 24:9 is the Hebrew word plural.
Yes, Genesis 24:9.
The Hebrew word
singular.
No, I did not. Dear God, I'm not asking what it's translated as, bro. Is the Hebrew word plural in Genesis 24:9?
This is better for you. Is Adonai plural?
Answer the dude. Please answer the question, dear God, brother.
Is Adonai
please answer.
plural?
Why do you ask me a question when I've been asking when you answer?
Adonai. Yeah, I'm saying yes.
Please, in Genesis 24:9.
Plural. Yes, Adonai is plural. Is it
okay?
Plural? Yes or no? Is it used in the plural? Yes or no?
No, I'll show you. It's not Genesis 24:9. What does 3ms mean here? What does 3ms here?
I love how you keep saying in Genesis 24:9.
Oh dear God, yes, because that's what we're talking about. Genesis 24:9.
Yes, but I'm saying the word itself, is it used plurally?
Not
Yes
in
or
Genesis
no?
24:9. No.
Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. Yes, because the Hebrew word Adonav is used in the plural. It's plural.
Is
It's a plural
Adonai
word.
is Adonai plural in Genesis 24? Not the translation. In Genesis 24:9 is Adonai plural.
Yes, the word Adonav is plural.
Okay, if it's
Is
plural,
that a problem?
great. If you
Yeah,
think
yeah,
it's
yeah,
plural, then tell me why here is it? What does 3ms mean? Do you know what that means?
That's the reason why they translated.
This
it
isn't the
singular, but
translation. No,
word-
this isn't the 3ms isn't the translation. No, it has nothing to do with the translation. This is
That's,
Hebrew.
it's saying that's how this word is functioning there.
It's saying how the Hebrew word is functioning there. So what does 3ms mean?
But is Adonav the word itself? Is it plural?
That's what it's saying here. What does 3ms mean? That's what I'm trying to tell you. Do you know what that means? Yes or no, dude?
Hold up.
No, not hold up,
Is it
bro.
used- yeah,
Dude,
Adonav, yes,
what
I
does
can say
3ms
this, I
mean
can
there,
say
brother? If you
it's
don't know,
used
I
in
can tell you. It's fine.
Yes.
I won't harp on it, but do you know
Yeah,
what
it's
the
a
3ms
third
is?
person masculine
Great, I'm
singular.
glad you finally looked it up. So why is
No,
it say it's singular?
Listen, you're saying
Boom.
why it's singular. Beautiful. I'm saying Adonav, and we both agree it's used in the plural. Yes or no? Can
That
we
has
agree on
nothing to do with what I'm talking about. Not in this verse. It's
I'm
not.
saying plural words are used for singular entities, idiot.
In Genesis
Moses-
24:9?
Yes.
No, it's not. Because it's singular. It says singular.
Okay, so Adonav is not a plural word.
Not in
Can I get-
Genesis
can I get you
24:9.
saying
No.
that? No, in general, is Adonav
I'm not
a plural
talking.
word?
Oh my gosh, we're not talking
Yes,
about general.
because it is.
In Genesis 24:9, it's not. So why does it say? Please tell me why it says singular there.
Listen. Okay, I'll tell you.
Please tell me why it's singular.
Yeah, I would honestly say that Nick saved that in the end there for sure. That part there regarding the singular, like, because I'm pretty sure, I don't know, let me look it up. Genesis 24:9 it was a Greek. We're doing Greek or no, Adonai, so that'd be Hebrew. The word is plural, but it functions singularly. Sola is not Orthodox. He is Muslim. Adonav. Whoa, I don't speak this. I don't. Do I hit this button or do I hit this button? Somebody help me. Ah! The whole page is in Hebrew. I started panicking, bro. I was like, someone help me. I don't speak Hebrew. Oh my gosh. Okay. Yeah, I don't Hebrew. 24:9. 9. Yeah. Adonai. Third person. His master is third person singular. Yeah, but I think the argument that Sola had was that the Hebrew word is technically not third person singular and that it was just translated that way into English. Right? The word has two definitions. Okay. Yeah, interesting. Yeah, I don't like language fighting, bro. It drives me crazy. It drives me nuts. Cuz like arguing about like specific word context and stuff like that is sometimes, not every time, but sometimes is about as bad as interpretation dancing with people on scripture. You know? The Nick could differentiate the meetings. I don't even know what that means, bro. Yeah, bro, it's at the level of being boring as the Islamic dilemma. Yeah, I will admit, honestly, that the Islamic dilemma is incredibly boring. And it's not even because it's a bad argument, but it's just kind of like, I've heard it so many times, bro. Like, to the point where, like, when someone's like, running the Islamic dilemma today, like, it's just like, oh, cool. You know? Yeah, same argument over and over again, man. Dude, modern day debate needs to hurry up and come out with the freaking Mr. Fist with the 5 gifted memberships. Thank you very much, man. It's fantastic. Thank you. Absolutely huge. Always supporting the channel. I ain't being cocky, but isn't low-tier Unitarian shit does not support a response, bro? It's just overused. It will happen to the same. It'll happen the same thing to Rumi's argument. Yeah, yeah, I would say to a degree that even if because like the argument's not bad, it's a good argument. It's just kind of like oh, you're doing that again. Okay, you know. Bryce, I'm talking about Solo's arg for the personification for the Memra. Oh, okay. You watched Metaphysics Mike versus In Philosopher's Garb. No, isn't In Philosopher's Garb a partialist? I'm like 99% sure he's a partialist. So if so, I don't want to watch two heretics fight. Did you review the Jim Bob LDS debate? I watched it personally, like I watched it on Modern Day Debate while it was going. I'm not reviewing that. And the reason why is because it was such a terrible clean sweep that I basically will have absolutely no commentary for it. Like, it was so bad for that Mormon. Like, I'm pretty sure that there was a part of that debate that I remember watching. It's funny, too. I was just, like, sitting on the toilet, just freaking watching that debate. I don't know why I just told you guys I was sitting on the toilet during that. But I did. Whatever. Ignore that. Cut that out. What the hell's wrong with me? Clips so fast. Guys are just always waiting to clip me, bro. It's crazy. Bryce J, this is Benzo, the dude who kept saying you got fried by Talon. Oh, okay. Cool beans. That dude that kept rage baiting the crap out of me in Discord, bro. My favorite argument against Islam. I mean, it entirely depends, man. Like, it depends on their Akida at the end of the day. Like, if they're like an authority, I think it's fun to just like mess with their theology. Like, I think it's really fun to just like dig into like their understanding of Tawhid and just make them like affirm the funniest things I've ever heard in my life. Like, you can make them affirm the funniest things ever, bro. Like, especially their opinions on like free will is so hilarious. Like, I was debating a Muslim the other day who held to that like determinist style view, like that really hard determinist style view. And I said, is it Allah's will, right, for a man to basically say, I want to grape somebody, right? And he was like, nothing is without the will of Allah. And I'm just like, are we dead ass? Like, that's funny. And that, in my opinion, is the best for those people. Like, just, God is mutable, temporal, and not omnipotent. That, yeah. Yeah, dude. How would you refute agency when Unitarians use it for Christ doing same operations? What do you mean by Christ doing same operations? I don't know what you mean by that. What do you think about Shias? And do you think they're based? I mean, I don't think any Muslim is based. I think that Shias are cooler than Sunnis. I think they honestly have more continuity towards their position in general. They have they kind of have like an apostolic succession type vibe, and I do think that is, I do think that's a better position. If I had to be a Muslim, I think that the succession of Muhammad's family, that perspective would be better. But I do think that a lot of Shias are pretty wild, though, with their theology as well. Like the Ismailis, for example, like they're complete necessitarians. So they just completely concede basically that there's no contingencies. And I think that's just kind of a hilarious position as well. Like, it's just another one of those kind of things where like someone admits it and you're just like, wow, dude, I don't even like, honestly, I think just that admittance by itself is, now granted, that's not technically honest of me to do, because there's a lot of things that we say as Trinitarians that cause Muslims to basically just be like, oh, it's over. He admitted this thing. And then, like, for example, like if I say God sleeps, right? Like they'll like kick you and they'll just be like, oh, I don't even need to talk to this guy anymore. He just admitted that God sleeps, right? So like in their view, that's just like crazy, like so crazy in their own view that like when I say it, it's just like they can't even fathom conversating with me after that. So like there is in a sense where like I'm being dishonest by saying like there's some things that they say where I'll just be like, all right, bro, we're done talking. This is so stupid. But it is quite funny. It is quite funny to see a lot of the things that they just admit, you know? Oh, so like Christ doing the same operations that the Father does, wouldn't they just say it's like a prophet? No. I would say that the context in which the power is given to Christ is not the same in which the power is given. Let me put it like this. All right, let me show you the Bible. I'll show you how that doesn't work. All right. So it's pretty explicit, obviously. This is one of my favorite arguments against like pretty much most Unitarian type positions. John 1 verse 3. Honestly, better than John 8:58, better than most of the quotes that we use to determine that Jesus is God in the scriptures. Right? So in John 1 verse 3 where it says through him all things are made. In the beginning, verse 1, in the beginning was the Word, and the Word was with God, and the Word was God. He was with God in the beginning, right? So it's giving the Word pronouns, of course, which is essential to this whole argument. Through him all things are made. Without him nothing was made that was made. Stating very specifically that all things, as in creation, is something that had to have actually been through Christ. So if all things that exist in terms of created things had to be through Christ, then Christ in of himself cannot be of that same, he cannot be in that category because he had to already exist in order for that action to be done in the first place. So if you want to take that operations argument, like you were talking about there, I think it was Zagreus that said that. Was it Zagreus? Yeah, I think it was. If you apply that same kind of context to John 1 verse 3, right? You could say, could a prophet create life, right, through just the power of God? Now, Muslims obviously would say that's fine because in the Quran, something like that occurs with Jesus, right, where by Allah's will, Jesus brings life to a clay bird, right, the thing stolen from the infancy gospel of Thomas. So, like, they would not have a problem with that. Unitarians would have a problem with that. So it's not the same. So this argument doesn't necessarily work near as well against Muslims because if I basically attribute this saying, if this is Jesus here and it says that through him all things were made, right? To a degree, they could just say like, oh, okay, it's fine. By the will of Allah, then Christ, made everything or some shit like that. Granted, they probably wouldn't admit that, but they do have a way out of it that Unitarians don't, and I will admit that humbly. The Unitarians, when it comes to this, they would never admit that a prophet has the ability to create life. Mr. Fist for $5, he says, Andrews Muhammad 1.HPP argument remains goated. Yeah, I'm never going to use that argument because I don't want to die, but I have seen that be used. I've seen that before. That is a wild argument that is funny for polemics, but holy moly, that will get you doxxed. So I will not be using it. There are other arguments you can use that will not get you doxxed. If, I think that's a fair thing to do. But, yeah. And it's funny too, right? Because there's people, like Unitarians especially, where they'll try to say that like the word is not a person. They'll say the word is like a power, basically, that's given to Jesus. But then they'll say that he didn't pre-exist. But then when we look at like verse 3, obviously, him, he, all of these things are used for Christ. They're used for someone who is not identified just by itself as God here. Or, sorry, this context to God. Because In the beginning was the Word, and the Word was with God, and the Word was God. He was with God in the beginning. He was with God in the beginning. Through him, all things were made. Right? Who's the he there? So it can't be the same context as God here. Otherwise, this sentence is complete gibberish, and it doesn't make any sense to say that. Right? You say, go to John 1:11. He came to that which was his own, but his own did not receive him. See, if I was a Unitarian, I'm just steelmanning. If I was a Unitarian, I would simply just say like, oh, it's because Jesus was man. He came to men, but men did not receive him. Right? I heard someone say because all men came from Adam, they can infer that Christ is created. That doesn't even make any sense. Because specifically in the category in John 3 where it says, through him all things were made, without him nothing was made that was made. Right? That's a completely different statement. Right? So like if they try to say that that has to do with like Adam or something like that, then in that case the context would then have to mean that Adam is the Word, who was with God, right? In the beginning. You got to remember that John 1 is like a direct correlation with Genesis 1. That was the entire point of John 1, was to basically describe Genesis 1 again with further context now that Christ has been known. So when you look at all of John 1, the context is not just verbatimly repeating Genesis 1 again. He's saying Genesis 1 with the perspective of now we know who Jesus is, and then adding to Genesis 1, basically, with further context. So the Word has to be referring to Jesus. Otherwise, John 1 makes absolutely no sense. Now, they just say if you exclude everything created with the same logic, then you're saying then Adam is not a man. No, I mean, like, because what makes you a man is possessing human nature. So I don't really think that would follow. Like, I don't, like, again, like, Adam was created directly by God, right? So I understand what they're trying to do. Because of the fact that Adam was created by the hands of God specifically, then technically speaking, he wouldn't be a man in there with that type of argument because he wouldn't come naturally. But honestly, I would say that that's kind of reaching. Like, that's severely reaching. But would you agree that the human predication argument would refute agency? Expand on that. What do you mean by that? Sorry, a little slow tonight. I had to listen to two Philobros argue about philosophy of mind for like 20 minutes, and it broke my head. Would you argue that this would also show that he was a personal suppositum before the dispensation? Yeah, it would have to be, because this is not referring to him while he was specifically on earth. This is repeating Genesis 1, meaning that this is referring to the actual creation of the world. It's not referring to some new creation. Meaning titles or attributes predicates to Jesus which they claim is a mere human, and they can't. No, one of my favorite arguments that I utilize against the whole mere human thing is that God is pretty explicit when he states that like human sacrifice in a general sense, right, is abominable. Because he hates all of the tribes around him that perform these actions. And so the argument basically follows that if Jesus is just a mere man, then technically speaking, first off, the crucifixion did nothing. And second off, it would then cause basically the sacrifice by itself to be abominable. Because when you think about it, he didn't like commit S-word, right? That's not what Jesus did, right? He was sacrificed by the people. And if he was sacrificed by the people, this would fall under the whole understanding of like priesthood sacrifice, where it comes to like slaying animals to forgive us of our sins. Jesus is the eternal sacrifice which forgives us of all of our sins, right? He's the finality to the entire point of why the priesthood was sacrificing animals, right? So if Jesus ends up being the one who actually completes whatever that thing is, then at the end of the day, when you think about it, God condemning human sacrifice as a method of trying to reach their God is not abominable. Technically, they just have to, so put it like this. Unitarians would have to affirm that all of these pagan religions that were sacrificing human beings to basically atone to their God, all it is just incorrect worship. That's pretty much as far as they can go with that. They basically just have to say it's just incorrect worship. Not that it's literally abominable, but rather that they're just doing it wrong. That's kind of like the entailment from that, is that they have to basically just accept it. That like, oh, well, they were just not sacrificing correctly. They were just sacrificing humans instead. How do Unitarians respond to God's attributes? I'm pretty sure they honestly just respond to him a similar way that we do. In my opinion, you know, like I don't really ever get to talk to a Unitarian who's actually theologically literate or metaphysically literate, I'd say. Most of them just like to quote mine the scriptures and say that my words are made up. So, I mean, like I talked to a Unitarian one time when I said, like, what are God's attributes? And he's like, God doesn't have attributes. He's above attributes. And I'm just like, okay, kind of based, but not based. You know what I mean? Like they don't understand anything about metaphysics. So they basically just appeal to the transcendence of God. They just say like, oh, well, we can't know anything. Okay, you almost had it. You almost appealed to Dionysius there. Hi, Bryce. I'm a Mormon Shia apologetics. I was wondering if you can have a formal debate. Brother, I know you. You're Louis, bro. You're Louise. I know you. You're not getting me with that. Nice try, though. Running. Yeah, I know. I run all the time. I run from people all the time, bro. It's just the way it is, you know? But, yeah. Anyway, when it comes to, like, the operations thing, kind of like what I was... When it comes to the operations thing, like you mentioned, Zag, that when we're talking about Jesus, right, we appeal to the John 1 verse 3 for that. Unitarians are not going to admit that Jesus did this. But you can very clearly argue that he did. That obviously this is Jesus being referenced here in John 1:3. Otherwise, the statement makes absolutely no sense when it says he was with God in the beginning, right? The entire point of John 1 is to denote who Jesus is. That's why the entire bottom of the entire passage has to do with describing who Jesus is. So John 1 was painting the beginning of that picture by denoting back to Genesis 1 during the creation of the world and how he was involved in it. I know that like a lot of people don't like The Chosen, but have you guys ever seen that episode of The Chosen that does this verse? Have you guys ever seen that? Obviously, there's a ton of filler in The Chosen, right? They add a lot of things to the show because if they just verbatimly only stated what was in the scriptures, it would be like a season long, generally. Unless they wanted to make the show like 4 different seasons for each gospel or something. But like that's not what people do, right? But I know that there are a lot of people that don't like The Chosen just because of like where they come from or where the people come from or whatever, or the fact that the director's Mormon or something like that. I guess there's a rumor about that. But like the show in of itself, it does, you know what? I'm showing it to you. I might get flagged for this, but this specific section here, I love this. The way that they did this.
The 5 books of Moses, and no more. They're missing out on so much. Yes. But we have to start somewhere.
Right, and the context is that Jesus is about to read from the Torah as rabbi to the people inside the synagogue. And John is the one who is chosen in this specific situation to choose basically what Jesus is going to read from.
Maybe Moses striking the rock instead of speaking to it. John, you, but no man, apparently. I'm a man, John. And yet, I am who I am.
You imagine if that was in the Bible? Can you imagine if he would have said that in the Bible? Like if that was written down? Like, dude, there would be no debate. There would literally be no debate. It says it in the NLV where he says, I am who I am to John in this situation. No, this is different. This is not John 8:58. This is a context that's not specifically in the Bible, right? This specific passage. I'm not talking about John 8:58. I'm talking about, could you imagine if this specific event, I think this is filler. This is not something that actually occurred. I don't know if it occurred. It could have occurred, and maybe that's why John 1:1 happened, but it wasn't written down, right? So like that's the cool thing about The Chosen, is that there's a lot of filler. Like for example, when he goes into the synagogue, when he's in, when he goes back home to Nazareth, and the priest tells him that they'll have to execute the law of Moses if he doesn't renounce his words, right? And then he goes, I am the law of Moses. Now, he doesn't say that in the Bible, but that goes crazy hard. Yeah, absolute bar. But he didn't say that in the Bible, right? So it's filler, technically. He may have said that. We don't know. But notice how when he says, I am who I am, right? Specifically in this.
Restless out there. You? I suppose I love the beginning. I love how God simply spoke and the world came into being. Yes. As David wrote, by the word of the Lord, the heavens were made.
So you notice how they're like doing this, right? By the word of the Lord, the heavens are made. And then John looks at Jesus and he's like, wow, like, it's you. Like you're the one that he's talking about. Like that's
the Greeks use word to describe divine reason. What gives the world form and meaning. I like that. And it is a favorite memory.
See that right there too. Like that's not in the Bible either. And it is a favorite memory when it's talking about like the creation of everything. Like it is a favorite memory. Like bro, imagine if he would have said that.
In the beginning, God created the heavens and the earth.
In the beginning was the Word.
And the earth was void and without form.
And the Word was with God.
And the darkness
do the direct tie.
Covered the face of the deep.
And the Word was God.
Then God said, let there be light. And there was light.
He was in the beginning with God. All things were made through him, and without him was not anything made that was made.
Dude, peak. I love the show. I'm not gonna lie. That show's made me cry multiple times, bro. I've cried multiple times to the shows. It's so good. And I love how they incorporate the reason for all of it. Like, even because, like, there's a lot of things in the Bible where, like, things are said, and, like, because of the fact that it's written in a condensed format, you don't know like a ton of things about like why the context was even brought up in the first place, why the people came to certain sections when they did. And The Chosen fills that in, granted speculatively, of course. It's not, obviously, not everything that's depicted in the show is true. But, like, for example, like Thomas's girlfriend. Like, and how she dies. Sorry, spoiler alert. Like, and then Jesus basically was like, I can't resurrect her. It's not her time. Or like, none of that happened in the Bible. And honestly, I didn't really like that scene very much because like it kind of rubbed me the wrong way. But like, there's a lot of extra stories that don't exactly purport to the story itself. But yeah. But anyway, I'm going to go ahead and end the stream. That was a really good end to it. Tonight was a little bit more brain rot than usual because I watched a couple debates that was like, eh. And then debated a couple goobers. But hey, gotta do what you gotta do. So. I sent you money. Oh, user 24865 for $2. He says, for all PSA is not orthodox. Your friend Pope. Okay, thank you, Pope. I appreciate that. God bless.